if you go into the tournament with that in your mind, you might think a team like Tundra could even be favored against. We will obviously see further down the line.
Oh, I think there is the aspect, and the panel kind of talked about that NIGMA were kind of figured out towards the later ends of the major, and at ESL they just played the same. I mean, they're basically playing the same thing here. So, I mean, obviously there hasn't been any kind of a patch. So, I don't. Were you? That's actually a good question. Were you expecting anything
30
different
seconds
coming from
to
them?
battle.
Are they just waiting for the patch to come before they make these major tweaks going into TI?
I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that NIGMA plays and played at the major are just really good heroes in the patch. So if anything, I think small adjustments are enough. Like swap out 1 or 2 heroes in like your active arsenal, and then you have like if you have like some sort of cheeky last pick that you've theorized could be good, then maybe that. But outside of that, like
The battle begins.
in ESL as well, I don't think the biggest problem necessarily was strategy. I just think they got like outplayed more so than having poor strategies. So also about, you know, just being in form and being on the same page. Speaking of strategy, like the panel was pointing out, this looked like a really good Ursa game, by the way, for the Smashers, and I really wonder what made them end up on the PL, if it's more of like a macro understanding of the game right now that a hero like Ursa can't win this late game or can't like build enough of an advantage, because he had some amazing matchups. Ursa's very good against Tide, very good against Phoenix. In my opinion, very good against Gyro as well. So it was only really Miracles created you were worried about, where you took the opposite approach here, where you took the PL that's good against the TA, but not so good against the Tide or the Phoenix. So maybe showing a lot of respect to the TA pick in general, and feel like you have to have a solution.
I want to say, at the major, from the games that we cast at least, the PL looked as Ace is going to get pressured completely out here. It's like he'll survive the engagement though early on between the Kuroki and Mind Control combo, but PL looked, I don't know if you feel the same way, felt a bit underwhelming once you got to like the late game timing. It's just, it feels like you need this semi-carry, which maybe, you know, Bora on the Lina can be that hero, but PL just doesn't feel like this hero you can just bank everything on.
I think the hero just felt overwhelming in general, not just in the late game. There were a couple of games that we saw where he did very well when he was under very good conditions and there was a very good like cast and plan around him. I don't know how much I like Hellbear Smasher's lineup as a PL lineup. Usually what PL wants is his other heroes either having like, I would say, very good ability to single target out people so that PL can go on something else. And what you're primarily sitting with, I guess the Hoodwink could be kind of cool for that, but you're kind of relying largely on an axe call to start a fight, and then PL will try to go on something else. Because this hero thrives in chaos, right? And I think that's part of the reason he looked weak at the major, is that a lot of the teams have this like very structured team fight that the hero isn't so good against.
Bot lane,
Tofu is in trouble bottom here.
Yep, Cold Embrace is himself for now. Kuro does have a couple of Fire Spirits left, and yeah, with the right click from Mind Control, nope, not going to quite pick out. Now Mind Control kind of on the run, and as we see this action, I want to scroll just a little bit higher. Oh, they actually got rid of it. No, there's this, I've never seen this spray paint before. You'll see it. I don't know who it is, but it's of a person yawning, and that might be the best spray paint in the entire game. So just have to you have to wait with bated breath here until that comes about again, Cinder. And maybe we can ask the players to pop it on the floor one more time.
So they don't kill Tofu there, but they do force out the Cold Embrace skill point on level 2, which means that the aggressive potential of Smashers in the safe lane is basically non-existent. I don't think you really wanted to try to play aggressive here anyway. You're playing against Tide Phoenix with a PL. PL does like negligible damage to Tide already, so what's your Wyvern really going to do? So you're just trying to sustain and farm, so that's kind of par for the course here. And it kind of goes both ways. Like, it looked like maybe there was a potential kill on the Wyvern there for NIGMA, but it's still at Fairy Fire, and obviously Phoenix's damage is not too interesting until level 3, and especially level 5 with the Fire Spirit points. So I think we're just going to have a farm lane down here for the most part. Mid lane, Boranya versus Miracle is a pretty even lane, Lina against TA. I think, go back a couple years, TA wins this matchup pretty hard, but Lina has some more things going her way now than back then. And then in that top lane, I think IO Gyro is a good lane against Axe.
All right, a courier was just fed to Rasmus here, aka Misery. He's going to chase down GH a bit. Forgot to mention this, of course. This was, I think, the first time I've ever cast Misery since the DC days, so I'm actually pretty excited about this. There's another courier, potentially with his name on it, but GH going to micro that, make sure they don't feed a second one to Mr. Rasmus himself. I don't know why he changed his name. I need to Now that's going to be my research for the next game, which he'll
Radiant's
probably not
middle
answer me, but I'm going
tower
to
is
figure
under
out why he
attack.
changed his name from Misery.
Maybe he felt like every time in the game, like he just had too many negative connotations
Dyer's
when he
top
looked at
tower
the screen.
is under attack.
Could be.
He wanted a more optimistic and positive name for his team. With
He
happy
did have a
names such
reputation.
as Tofu and Ace. You need
I mean,
to match
Tofu
that.
is the most neutral name possible, right? It's tasteless. Supposed to add everything to it to make it taste anything good, but
Oh, that was a contra.
really? I thought that was the entire point of it. Okay, well, we can have a discussion
A
about that.
wyvern's breath.
By itself, yeah. The whole idea is to add stuff to it. But anyway, back to the game. So this
Dyer's
is the
bottom
TI
tower is
qualifier,
under
for God's sake.
attack.
Get your head back inside the game, good sir. We have
I'm in the
ILTW, of course, on this gyrocopter, 22-7 versus the PL is 27-3. So neither are farming that great. As you can see, Rocket Barrage on the Mr. Rasmus. You can see Gil here. A little bit of damage from the sideline. It's a hero we have yet to talk about because he's been in basically every single game, this Hoodwink. I know you hated him at first, but I should say. Have
Right,
your thoughts
so-
changed over the course of the past few weeks?
They actually have. So at the major, when I was
Really?
talking about
Radiant
Hoodwink,
are
I
scanning.
wouldn't say I was a hater. I just felt like the hero had a lot of conditionals that needed to be met in order to perform well. Like a couple of heroes in the meta really made it hard for Hoodwink to
Dyer's
thrive.
courier
Like,
Misery
has
still.
been killed.
Run from death!
all right. Maybe we get the
That's
kill.
first blood for NIGMA. Go ahead, Tanner. Go
That's how
ahead.
it's
Yeah,
done,
so
kids!
I think Hoodwink needed a lot of. It felt like Hoodwink needed a lot of conditionals met, but after just seeing it and playing it more, I'm kind of getting to a point now where I think the hero's a bit more independent than I give it credit for. It's somewhat against a lot of combinations
Dire
where it would be hard. I
structures
think
are
if you play around
fortified.
it in a smart way, you can set things up, and the tempo of the game really seems to favor a skill like Bushwhack Kite a lot. There's a lot of fighting around tree lines in the early mid game in many of these games where Hoodwink can do a lot of impact. Usually when the hero starts falling off is when teams start getting like BKBs or like just get too tanky
The
or get
jungle
a lot
has
of mobility
everything
items, so
Axe
it gets harder to hit
desires.
your spells. But in the position that Smashers picked it, I kind of like it. Like when you pick it later into the draft, when you see that the enemy team, okay, they're not playing like 3 heroes that have insane mobility. They're very much grounded, right? Like, what did you see at the time? You saw Phoenix, TA, and Io, I think, with that Hoodwink. None of these heroes with like insane mobility, so you have a good chance of landing your spells and not relying too much on teammates to
It does
support.
feel like one of those vanilla picks as well.
Guess
you
it's
know,
my
just-
shout.
Radiant's top tower is under
I mean, I
attack.
will say this, Cinder. I know you're going to disagree, but this is one of the heroes that NA has introduced to the world. Basically the only region to play this hero for the longest time. And we saw at the major with
Maybe
varying
that's why it
results,
wasn't picked so much at the major.
Yeah, that's why you didn't believe in it, because NA were the team. I mean, you're like, NA's garbage, so anything they pick is probably
Invisibility.
You were
But,
really good.
hey, they happen to be right about one thing, all right? So
That's true.
we can at least put that to our name. But we haven't really talked about the lineups overall.
Good
The
night.
Microsoft's getting pressured out of bot lane for now. We'll be okay though. Do you favor one team or the other, not including skill? Because obviously coming into this, Team NIGMA, like you talked about, the #1 seed for all intents and purposes, so they will be the team to beat.
I don't know. So one thing I'm not so big a fan of with NIGMA's lineup is what the panel pointed out, that they have like no catch, no reliable way of setting up fights. They just have that Ravage. And when you get out of a laning stage and skirmishes start happening, you're very much reliant on Ravage to get stuff done. When you get later in the game, you can kind of itemize your way out of it, right? By just having overwhelming items or buying stuns or maybe be able to outlast, so you get a guaranteed good Ravage because your cores are tanky enough with the IO Phoenix backing them up that
Radiant's
just
middle
takes too long.
tower is under attack.
Barney will be forced to TP away here from the room. Good
Can you
coverage
pronounce
forward.
that name again for me, please?
Okay, so I actually don't know. So I call him Boranya, and some call him Borania, and the panel
Okay.
call him Bora Ninja, which is definitely wrong because the letter isn't even in his name. So I'll say they're wrong, but beyond that, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Bora. It's just half of his name, so it can't be technically
Yeah, let's
incorrect.
call him
It's-
Bora.
Enigma, they see this stack here. The question is,
Akuro.
can they do enough pressure here? Is Rasmus, he's gonna be found out, is level 6 right now. The trap does slow, homing missile on the way. Bushwhack does connect onto 2, but Rasmus able to get out of his position. Also will be tanky as a result. But the call down is there with the reinforcements on the way as well. Finally, Enigma are able to take him out, but will it cost him anything? Look at all the rotations here from Hellbear. Smashes GH will not be able to TP out. LSA was there. So it ends up being a 1-for-1, but the real question is, where does the stack go? They can't take it without the axe.
Yeah, they're just gonna hold the area,
Dire
and X
are
is gonna pull there
scanning.
so you can try again. X with Vanguard can do this on his own. Yeah, you can be cute and Cold Embrace him with Wyvern. Kyle's primary contribution to Pro Dota history, but they don't need to do that here. X can do it on his own problem. So, yeah, I feel like I didn't really answer your question about who my favorite is going
You
late.
never do. I just want to hold on. I hope people out there that are listening / watching just understand that you don't answer any questions. Period.
Ever.
Yes, ever.
Okay, so if NIGMA get through at what could be a turbulent mid game, I do favor their strategy in the end, because I think both TA and Gyro in this game are going to be overwhelmingly farmed, and I always like Phoenix late game as a support. Yes, you're playing into Lina, but it's literally the only very big problem you have for your egg, because PL can't go for the Supernova when he's just going to get ravaged, right? So if you set it up nicely with, let's say, TA starting the fight with either, I don't know if Miracle's going to go for a scythe in this game
Dire's
to lock
middle
people down,
tower
or
is under attack.
a nullifier or whatever, to just like
Invisibility.
start the fight. And then Phoenix follows through. It's very difficult for Hellbear to go in and deal with that Supernova. And Tide will get a refresher late games, get 2 Ravages. Very late. I like NIGMA. In theory, in the next 10 minutes, I like Smashers, but I haven't really seen them take much initiative right now. They're kind of just letting both the Gyro and the TA farm to their heart's content. That's generally not a good look. But these two heroes just farm faster than anything you have. Like, you're
Radiant's
not going to
middle
keep up
tower
with your
is under
PL and
attack.
your axe to this when the axe is played offlane.
I'm gonna ask you a bit of a, I don't know what kind of question you want to even describe
Dire's
this as.
top
It's a bit of a
tower
hot
is
take.
under
Do you think
attack.
Gyro
Radiant's
is a
bottom
good
tower
hero
is under attack.
without IO?
Radiant structures are fortified.
You see Bushwhack? We got to hold the horses there, Mr. Cinderin. Yeah, sharpshooter's there, but Rasmus not able to do much as there was a relocate. But it's actually a baby relocate. They want to go back in here. Kuroki does
Radiant's
have egg as
bottom
well.
tower has been
And a
denied.
posture, but doesn't look like a
Radiant
fight will actually come out from
structures
this. So
are
go ahead with
fortified.
your amazing opinion that you won't answer.
Nice deny bottom by Tofa there on the Wyvern, by the way. Tower from So, yeah, I actually do think Gyro can be a good hero without IO. I don't think it's as much of a requirement as it felt like, I want to say a month or 2 ago, where it was literally only played together. But if you do pick Gyro without the IO, I think it needs to be a very late pick in the draft, because there's like specific pitfalls for this hero where it can be difficult, like some matchups where people come up too close and are against you. A lot of the like, very mobile heroes can kite you
Dire's
and
top
make your
tower
life
is
miserable
under
because your
attack.
spells don't land.
Dire's
So much of your damage in the
structures
early
are
mid game
fortified.
is about the rocket barrage as well as the call down until you get farmed enough that flat cannon becomes your main source. A lot of heroes can deal with it very well, but when it gets picked late, like let's say last pick or second to last,
LPW might be in some trouble. GH does have his relocate, and you can see just like that with the Bushwhack setup. Hellbear Smashers absolutely decimate him. So
Radiant's
tier
middle
1 as
tower
well
is
as
under
Bora's
attack.
rotated here, in addition to basically everybody from Hellbear Smashers.
I don't think you can ultimate power. Like I get what Mind Control's intent is. This is something you want to do with these like tanky offlaners like Tide, is you want to
Dire's
TP
top
in and
tower
defend your
is
safe lane tower. Same logic for Timbersaw, but like your carry just died. He doesn't have buyback, and the power is on 20%. So I think that TP, he might complete it anyway, just so he can sit up here and take the follow-up farm that comes and push out the wave again. But that tower was definitely dead on arrival as soon as LTW died. And nice from Hellbear's here, right? Like they take some initiative. It's been a relatively quiet game. They kill the carry, they take it tier 1. I think you want to keep rolling. You have a feel with this early diffusal timing. Hoodwink has level 7, which is a very strong spike for the hero when you have your ulti and 4 points of Bushwhack. It's very, very powerful. Axe is going to get his dagger and 20 gold. So all things are coming together here. I would really like to see Smashers try more invasive maneuvers, especially if they can play away from the Tide. That's like the one centerpiece that NIGMA have to kind of glue their lineup together in team fights right now.
Dire are scanning.
Forcing that guy to TP top could have even given them a smoke toward the other side of the map, but they chose to fall back to farm the dagger first.
Yeah, like you said, Ace does have the Diffusal Blade. We have Bora on the Lina, has the Boots of Travel going into Yules. We saw the Maelstrom already picked up by LTW. Obviously going for the Aghanim Scepter thereafter. I mean, once he gets that, it feels like his farm just takes on another level where there's almost no other heroes that can really catch up. Outside of like a Luna type hero. I mean, even the TA on your team won't be able to keep up with that at some point in the game. By the way, now that we have a small break, I have a little bit of not a complaint, but Why has
None is
nobody
burned.
talked about how the health bars at the top have changed
Double
colors?
damage.
Is that just me that notices this?
What has
The last
changed?
patch?
Is it a different
It's a-
green hue and a different red hue, or?
Yeah, they're both darker. Is that just my
That's
computer?
true, actually. That is.
Why has nobody complained? It's really been
But
bothering
is
me
that only when you're spectating or also when you're playing?
when I'm playing as well. Okay, just a PSA out there. Nobody has brought that. I feel like I'm literally crazy that I'm the only one that has noticed this, but it's really
When did that
bothering.
happen? In a patch like a day ago or something?
No, it was the Nemesis patch.
Oh. I think people didn't notice it because they were lagging all the time, so they couldn't really focus on other things.
Well, they're still lagging, I guess. I don't know
Right.
what the deal with that is. Yeah, that
Trying to
micro
control their
stutter.
heroes, yeah, they're focusing on improving their performance rather than looking at the top of the screen.
Illusion.
Mid tower is gonna be attacked here. I like this from Smashers. No siege creep yet though, so I think a better timing would have probably been next wave. But it's the right idea to not just sit back and farm and do nothing. Relatively quiet game though. 4 kills at 15 minutes is very slow in this patch.
Radiant's top tower is
And
under attack.
I think NIGMA are happy with it, so you're not... You know, there's like this fine balance in the game between doing what you want to do and doing what the enemy team doesn't want you to do. They're not always the same thing.
Radiant
Does that make
are
sense?
scanning.
Like sometimes your lineup really wants to farm, but because the enemy team wants to farm even more than you do, it can be better to play aggressive. Like, the reason I say this is that a lot of the time PL lineups are happy to just do this, right? Just sit back and farm. Oh, PL's free farming, that's great, but the lineup you're playing against probably thrives more from that playstyle than your PL draft, even though you last picked it.
Radiant's
like there's a
middle
little bit
tower
of-
is under attack.
There should be a feeling of urgency to get something done for Smashers here. Even though their lineup, in theory, would be happy to farm.
Yeah, we talked about it. Gyro and TA are basically going to out-farm you no matter what at this stage. I mean, right now,
It's still
Miracle...
even. Like, it's just a 1k
Yeah.
lead, but it's kind of the writing on the wall that key items are coming up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now that the Ag is... Actually, did he change up his build? Is he going BKB on ILTW? I think something's being delivered right now. We'll see what that is, but... Miracle
it's like
did get
Miracle's going to be green.
his Desolator right now. Okay, so it
Radiant's
ends up changing.
bottom
So it looks
tower
like they
is
want to
under
fight
attack.
with this Desolator on Miracle. That's kind of the timing. As you can see that
The
they are
timing for
scouted out
NIGMA
here
in
a
this
bit.
game will be BKBs,
Dire's
right?
middle tower
you
is under
pretty
attack.
much you negate a lot of the Lina. You negate basically all of Hoodwink. At least for Hellbear Smashers, they do have 2 BKB piercing abilities in the Call as well as the Winter's Curse, so it's not nothing. But even against a hero like Phantom Lancer, BKB can actually be very good because you remove the diffusal aspect of the hero. Can help you in a lot of core matchups, especially. So I think, you know, ILTW getting his BKB and maybe Miracle after Blink will get
Dire
another
are
BKB.
scanning.
Ty got his dagger. It's still just very calm with Smashers. I feel like having this timing right now that isn't really getting used. They got an X Blink, have yet to use it. Lina has her Yules, has yet to use it.
I mean, this is a situation. I know it's an off-lane act. This is like, if you knew this was going to happen, you probably would have just went straight for Manta, I assume, and not gotten the blink yet. But it is 17 minutes.
yeah.
They can't get that shark quite yet, so they are going to smoke, and we'll see if they can find a kill as a result of this. I think this is feels like the first team smoke of the entire game here. But like we
I
talked
think
about,
Smashers are just frustrated. It feels like they're not able to push out the waves as much as they would like to make these smokes good. And at
Dire's
this point, they're
middle
going to do
tower
one
is
where
under
both their
attack.
bottom and top wave are kind of halfway across the map for the other team. So it's not like a very advantageous position. And now they're going to move in. They're going to place an ops, which is uncovered. We do know there's a ward from NIGMA.
this would be a huge kill. Hoodwink gets off the stun. Beautiful Laguna Blade. That is enough to delete ILTW. And the big thing about that is he was 200 gold away from finishing his BKB. So now he's 400. That is a big timing opening here for Hellbear Smashers. We'll see if they can take the tier 1 in addition here. But Mind Control is a bit. He is here with the Blink Ravage. They really want to go for this. It is 45.
Damage on that Lina
Dire's
double damage here.
structures are fortified.
Notification.
Dire's
Pop.
middle tower is under
It
attack.
looks like the tower will fall, and NIGMA is
Dire's
just going to chill
middle
for
tower
now.
has fallen.
Wait for ILTW to come back up.
Really
Didn't
nice
mention,
Smashers.
Hoodwink did get the Ironwood Tree neutral, by the way. Maybe I'll say
I'm
the
not
second
opposed
best
to
hero
taking the
to be able to get
occasional
this behind Timbersaw. Oh, it's not as good a Timbersaw as it used to be. Basically,
Radiant's
just plant
middle
the tree and
tower is
then you
under
can
attack.
bushwhack first and then tree after.
Yeah,
Almost like
it's
an
800
invisible
cast
stun.
range and it's pretty much instant placement. So yeah,
Illusion.
it is very good on Hoodwink for sure. It gives you basically, yeah, it basically gives you in a way half a spell. because you don't need to rely on the travel time of 8.5 anymore, which is a big part of the weakness of that spell, is that it's very telegraphed and it does take some time to land. And it can be quelling, right? But if you throw the net and then place the tree as the net is landing, no hero can quelling blade that.
I'm sure there's some people with reaction time, Synderen, or scripting, but of course nobody's going to be doing
Radiant
that in
are
this lobby,
scanning.
at the very least. These are TI level players, especially in the likes of Misery. Second place. I don't know if you knew that, Synderen. Very good player back in the day.
Very good player.
Hoping for a resurgence from him in particular. It's cool to see him in the off lane, though. Definitely not a position that, you know, back in the day he would play position 5 and 4. Pretty much that's it. And then recently, I'm not sure how recently it was. Maybe I have to talk to T-Gov about this since he's been in the know with him. But
He won a major as off lane.
how recently?
Oh, that's quite a while ago. That was in Shanghai in 20.
Yeah, this was he in, was it on Secret? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Played off lane
That was
for
with Weehaw. Or was that EE? Or maybe all
That
of
was
them
with
were
EE.
on the team.
He was it. Who were the supports? It was Puppy. Was it Puppy Pilot Eye?
I think I was going to say Pilot Die, probably. Yeah.
Puppy Pilot Eye.
Man.
Yeah, it was Pilot Eye. I remember.
Secret
it very-
had some crazy 5-man rosters, I have to say. All right, we have a mech picked up for Mr. GH.
Swiftly to the
ILTW
temple's
did
defense.
finish that BKB. Looks like Gil's gonna use his ult to try to get to the other side, but it's gonna be found out pretty easily. That's gonna be a freebie for NIGMA, and they're just gonna go into Roche. The question
He
is,
also
can
buyback
Hellbear
on the
smash
headwing,
it?
and they have all spells except the sharpshooter, so he's gonna buy back. And Nigma doing this specifically to force that buyback and immediately get the hell out of there. Very experienced. They know this was what they were trying to do.
Smoke too.
And smoke again.
Yeah,
And
of course,
if they find
Hoodwink, one of the
Gilgir
few
again now,
heroes.
it's very big.
Hoodwink, one of the few heroes that can actually scout into Roche, so actually a pretty important hero to have alive right now. Ace, we found out, gets the bounty, but will run. ILTW just going to take the triangle for now. You can see that Hellbear Smashers are kind of spread a bit. Rasmus towards the top of the screen. They can close in and try to find a nice initiation.
As long as Nigma aren't killing Roche, I think this is fine from Hellbear. So, you know, you're paying some respect to the enemy team. Smoke, movement, you know they're smoke because Gyro broke on the PL. And you just push out the waves, buy some time, and Nigma eventually are going to just back off. They didn't really accomplish much with their 2 smokes. They got 1 support kill from 2 smokes. Who, in fairness, did buy back, but it wasn't that big of an expense. I think Hellbear's...
Dire's top tower
They're
is
doing
under
fine. They're
attack.
2k gold up. It's not a monumental lead, but after they found that kill on Gyro as well as the mid tower, I feel like the game is still in a good spot for them. Boranya will use a nice real TP out against that relocate.
No stuns.
Yeah, no
He
stun.
needs to get level 25 to get that precious stun.
I feel like, you know, I talk about this a lot. I feel like playing lineups without stuns is just hard. And it doesn't, like, I'm not gonna, you know, say that Nigma's draft makes no sense and why the hell don't they pick stuns or whatever, but I think they might have had a different plan for their last pick. The DK ban obviously coming out, I think, was the hero they wanted. But that was clearly a good ban from the Smashers. But yeah, having only Ravage as a stun, you're just seeing situations where heroes can play the map differently on the enemy team, such as the Lina there. Like, if there's literally any stun there, that's just a dead Lina, but because Bora knows that that's not an option, he can push that extra wave that little bit further, or play that little more cocky in fights and get away with it.
Dire
I think
are scanning.
I think it's time for GH to
Radiant's
get
bottom tower
his
is
shards. We
under
see
attack.
initiation top lane. Rasmus gets that control the nice overcross. Sharpshooter into the Laguna Blade. Absolutely delete mind control. And looks like Hellbear Smashers will be able to get out just
Radiant's
fine.
bottom
Does get off the
tower
homing
is
missile,
under
but really
attack.
to no avail here is Rasmus showing off his newly minted Manta style, working on a shard for himself. So we talked about how, yeah, he is mega farm for sure. He just farmed his ILTW basically. That's not good news for the team. This is going to be a Roche now for Hellbear.
No tide, no buyback. They're actually just going to lose this. I don't see a way Nigma can contest this at all, so I don't think they're even going to bother. But maybe they are called out.
There. Kuroki's available with the egg. You can see the Sunray coming out. Actually popped the BKB as well. The homing missile coming. Nina's going to get to the high ground.
Radiant's
and
middle
Ace
tower
trying
is
to
under
convert to their
attack.
side of the map. Miracle kind of get caught out though. LSA's there into the right click. Looks like it's doing more than enough damage to take him out. And it only cost him a Wyvern. Roche extremely low right now. The egg does finally pop for Kuroki. A lot of low heroes on the side of Hellbear Smashers. I feel like they have enough time to go heal and go back and to get Roche.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good play from NIGMA because they stop the Rosh and they don't Ravage.
Illusion!
So if they can hold the area until Miracle spawns, they might be able to grab the Rosh themselves. I didn't think they were
Radiant's
going to be able to or
bottom
try
tower is
to
under
contest
attack.
there. But I think the really key thing was Rasmus was tanking Rosh and couldn't blink. So he wasn't able to connect on the net that Gilger found on the gyro when he walked in, and he just beat
I think they could get it right now, though. This is
Dire's
the
middle
timing for
tower
Hellbear.
is under attack.
I like this a lot. Again, you're just forcing Nigma's hand. You know, there's no supernova. 20 seconds on the TA. Are they going to buy back? Not yet.
Smoking. Yeah, they want to go up again.
Roshan has
Beautiful.
fallen
There's
to
the
the
Ravage into the pit. That looks like Ace is going to be able to get the Aegis in the end, but the Rohan actually goes to the Nigma, and they're going to lose everybody. Gyro's dead. Io's dead. Looking on the high ground now. Ravage just limping away. It's going to be a triple kill for Bora. Looks like Mind Control is next on the list. They only lose Rasmus. What a huge fight for Hellbear Smash. Mr. Bora, who I can't pronounce your name, but you're playing very well, young man. Good job.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hello, Nigma? Okay, doesn't this just feel like one of those moments where, okay, if you're gonna double down on that Roche, you're gonna buy back your TA when you go for the Ravage? And the reason is TA has Blink, so if she TPs on the outpost, I think she can connect in time. Instead, you're kind of like, I'm not gonna say they half-ass it, because it is a really big commitment to buy back the TA, but at the same time, I think if you believe in that fight, buying back the TA should probably get you the Aegis. And then that's, you know, if that's the outcome, that you pay a buyback to get that Aegis and the enemy team doesn't get it, that's pretty good, I would say. But going in as 4 there with the Ravage seems a bit optimistic under those circumstances.
I believe the
We basically had
Ravage
2 4-man
killed...
fights on Roche in a row, right? Like, NIGMA took 2 4v5s in a row there. The first one was without the TA, and the second one was... Or, sorry, the first one was without Gyro, right? And the second...
Dire's bottom tower
First one was without
is under
the-
attack.
TA
First one was without someone, second one was without someone else, okay? I have the memory of a goldfish, but I think it was
okay.
tied first and the second fight was without the TA, right?
Yeah, I
Dire's
believe so.
structures are
I
fortified.
figured it out. It just took...
Radiant structures
Did you figure
are
out that the
fortified.
Ravage killed Roshan as well,
Dire's
Cinder?
bottom
It's quite the
tower
highlight.
is under
And
attack.
very awkward
Radiant's top
one-minute period
tower is under attack.
where the Aegis was on the ground.
Imagine Nigma don't get lucky. I mean, that's just pure luck, right? That the Ravage gets the kill. Then
Wait, how much
that's
does that
another-
matter? How much gold and XP is that even?
It's a decent,
Radiant's
it's a decent
top tower
chunk.
is under
I
attack.
think this would be about a 1k
Dire's
bigger
bottom
lead. Just,
tower
I mean,
is
not
under
flat,
attack.
but instead of 3k, let's say
Dire's
4k right now, and there would be a
structures
little
are
bit more
fortified.
experience. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the Aegis is more important than the kill, obviously. But you know, Smashers were set to get both, so at the very least, maybe that's something they're looking at.
Radiant's
Keep
top
coming in
tower
top. They're
is
very late
full.
on this.
Yeah, Aegis already at half HP. You need to be careful here. Tier 2 is already dead. You loses from Ravage coming in. Only missile to follow the mind control with another Ravage. This time it's going to be basically just on the Luna, who gets the Yules off, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. Nope, going to get saved for now. The L state's not going to connect, though. Will shortly find her way to the grave. BKB pop from Miracle now as the chase is on. Still buyback available, though, for Bora. He wants to extend it here. Doppelganger's able to take off that homing missile. Tofu getting chased, though, in the meantime, yeah, can't even get off the cool embrace in time. So, a 2 for nothing along with the tier 2 tower. Despite not having the Aegis, NIGMA are
Radiant's
not
middle
scared to
tower
fight.
is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is falling.
Rasmus jumps in, beautiful, into the Pokemon push flag. 2 huge kills, double kills for Rasmus.
in his hand.
Stop is there, and now the egg looks to be next, but it will get popped eventually. Doppelganger actually ends up dodging it a bit here as Ace. Like another bushwhack from Gil. Beautifully done from this
Big play from
hoodwink.
Rasmus.
Radiant's
Finding
middle
Meadow.
tower
3
is
big
under
turnaround
attack.
kills
Dire
after
are
a
scanning.
horrible fight for Hellbear.
I don't know what happened in that top fight. Like, I still... I look at the fight and I just see Alina in the middle of everyone without BKB and 500 health. Like, she popped BKB coming down from her own Yules, but how the hell did she get in that position to begin with? Look at the way this Radiant lineup is structured, right? You have a very clear-cut initiation plan with either Hoodwink or Axe, and Lena's just supposed to be long-range artillery. So I don't know how she found herself in the midst
Dire's
of all
middle
of that.
tower
Doesn't
is
even have a
under
dagger
attack.
to get in with, so it couldn't have been that. But yeah, they get a couple of recover kills off of Rasmus there. That definitely helps. Oh, LPW, very defensive BKB. Scared of getting caught.
That is going to be low as 6 seconds. The call comes in with the Laguna Blade, so yet another kill for Hellbear. Man, I cannot say their name. I'm talking fast. Slow down like every time I say Team NIGMA. Have to use that, I guess. That strategy that I've picked up over the years. We'll check this tier 2 tower. Hellbears, the Radiant team versus the Dire.
Didn't reach. The wave actually didn't reach to break that back door, so
yeah,
good job
right.
from Miracle on the trap control. Relocate bot, they're gonna push out down here, buy themselves some time.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah,
tower
ILTW. We
is
talked
under
about, I mean,
attack.
the fact that he's not even top net worth is pretty crazy considering the amount of farm that he's able to get on this hero, but all the credit to Hellbears. They have definitely shown up here today with that 4K net worth lead now.
It's not
Talked
even
about the
my
relocate,
business.
overuse bushwhack. Into the sharpshooter, that's the break. Onto the Tide Hunter, no
Dire's
follow-up
top
though.
tower is under attack.
They're just posturing here as the Aegis is now expired. That's something we didn't really talk about, but obviously sharpshooter against Tide, if you're able to connect it at the full duration, that is a pretty long break. It is dispellable, but not having Kraken Shell means that you can just burst this hero. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons you pick Tide Hunter, is you basically get a guaranteed Ravage no matter what, just because of that dispel.
There's a couple of problems for Tide here, right? There's the Axe Call, which is undispellable, and then there's the Break, which he can dispel with Lotus, but then he needs to not be called at the same time. So there's like a very clear-cut plan for Smashers to
Regeneration.
actually just kill the Tide if they want, which is call into Hoodwink ult, and then just pile on him with Lina, and he's gonna die. And that's big, because the only saves... NIGMA do have both the Sunray and the Tether Burst heal with mech, but as we've seen earlier in the game, the damage from Smashers has been enough. So the question is, when do you push yourself over that limit where you don't die in the burst? That's when NIGMA's lineup gets a lot better, is when they can reliably heal their cores with Sunray in these fights and they start getting longer. But so far so good for Smashers. When they do get the jumps, they convert it immediately into big kills. Bottom lane relocate. Nobody's here with Razors though. This could have been really good.
We're going to continue to do this. It's not quite an IO Tiny from back in the day, but
Dire's
it's
courier
the best
has been
alternative
killed.
these days, I suppose. Can't really take a full Rax, but I mean, he does have Agnum Scepter and will be getting Butterfly very shortly. So that is when he starts to do damage in fights. I mean, this is kind of like a farming build, right? He's doing damage in fights, but it takes on a whole new level once you get these Butterfly type items.
He still feels susceptible though, even with this. I still think he can die to a full-on combo from the Smasher, so I don't think you're safe as ILTW here. It helps you against the PL, of course, but like imagine you get Axe called with Hoodwink ult and Lina Burst. I don't know, man. I don't know if their heal is enough to keep him alive without having, say, Satanic or
Dire's top
Scotty
tower
for the
is
extra
under
help.
attack.
He gets caught outside of BKB. I think he's killable.
Miracle
Dire's structures
has
are
the Butterfly
fortified.
coming online very shortly
Dire's
as
top
well.
tower
His
is
BKB
under
is
attack.
still at 8 seconds, so hasn't been popping it nilly-willy like ILTW has. Of course, ILTW has been kind of in the thick of things.
Dire's top
Ace
tower
on the
has
PL
fallen.
has the Heart SNY combo along with the Diffuser we had earlier. ILTW leading the charge now to action onto Razes. He's going to get the call down, but he's going to get killed in the meantime. He gets stunned, so Lotus applied as well for us. Not really scared of anything. He's in the backline. Miracle just absolutely rampaging through Razes. It's going to be enough to take him out. Full Embrace not there in time. Now the chase is onto Tofu. He's going to get off his ult for the time being, but the chase is on. Looks like Mind Control might be able to find out. In the future, to be able to get out, but ILTW is in a lot of trouble right now, getting surrounded by his teammates. So the egg for separation as well. It looks like Gil might fall on the backside. Ace needs to create a little bit of space thanks to this egg. ILTW finally gets that last right click, so a 2 for nothing after all of that. Still a lot of damage on the ILTW, but no kills for Hellbears, Smashers.
Really good play from Miracle in that fight. I don't think it's an obvious play that he can go and kill the Axe there, but he does pull it off just barely, and with Axe out of the picture, it's just easy.
Dire's
And you
bottom
gotta
tower is
think
under
on
attack.
Smashes as well. Like Tofu, he has to be there for that Cold Embrace. He has Blink Dagger on the Wyvern. It needs to save Axe from the TA in time, and who knows if they could have turned that around. But a big play from NIGMA. They get 2 kills. One of them on the Axe, which is still a decent chunk of net worth that you managed to claw into, and Roshan has just spawned and they have a trap there. That's the bigger prize. Roche number 2. NIGMA tailored this fight to take close to the respawn of this and get rewarded in a big way. I'm gonna go Aegis Power
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
Yes, no, maybe? Yes.
Yeah,
Give
so
the
we
Chiefs
looked at a
miracle.
stat privately, right,
Or to
between
Io,
you
of
and
course,
me
yeah.
on the win rate of second Roche, just not in pro games, but all around game. It's like 80+%, which I guess shouldn't be that big of a surprise because second Roche and just in general probably has a high win rate throughout history. But this one in particular just has an actual power for sure.
Giving the shard to
the-
TA. We'll get the silence on Psionic Trap. So
Waiting for that Ags.
it's a really big problem for Wyvern, actually. So if Wyvern is ever caught on a trap, he's just get silenced, or you kill someone else while Wyvern is silenced. It just gives this added layer of utility to Miracle to be really confident in finding key picks.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Speaking of confidence, he's straight down to mid tier 2, pushing this really quickly with those very interesting shots, looking like something out of Star Trek.
Dire's bottom
Star
tower
Trek?
is
I was
under attack.
thinking more Wizard
Actually,
of
World of
Oz.
Warcraft.
It's more of a rainbow
Dire's
effect, if I
bottom
do say
tower
so
has
myself.
fallen.
Scotty now picked up by Ace, who's in the enemy jungle right now, but like you can see, NIGMA are just taking all the outer towers. They've taken everything but the tier 2
Dire's
bots, and
bottom
they're just
tower
going to
is
go
under attack.
Okay, sharpshooter with the Laguna Blade. All right, NIGMA were not aware of that combo, apparently. Everybody has to pop his BKB, and it's just a retreat, but there's the Wyvern Curse applied to him. A little bit of damage done from TA as well. Born Ninja gets up the LSA as well. Oh, they'll relocate onto the other side of the cliff. I thought he went back to base, but it's actually a little baby one yet again, so look to reinitiate potentially here. I feel the Odin, the BKB, and the Aegis, like Hellbears, are going to be very happy with this exchange.
Call down for what? Sorry, it's a reference to a song that you don't like because
Yeah,
it's a good song. So
I actually laughed because I knew I wouldn't understand it, but I knew what it was generally from. You and I are just on the same page, even
do you
when
not
it
like
doesn't make
Lil
any sense.
Jon, Sunsfan?
I don't know who
Say
that is.
yeah, then you're saving yourself right now.
Wait, does he have blonde hair?
Oh, okay.
Color blonde?
Let's move on with the game.
Okay.
That was
There's-
about as wrong as it.
There's a reason. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but I did. Maybe it was Lil Wayne I saw recently. I get the Lils all mixed up. I'm not going to lie, because I don't really keep track of the
Yeah, there's a lot
music
of them.
kids.
That's actually easy to mix up.
That's true.
Who started that trend
MKBs.
anyway?
I don't know.
Why are you called Lil something?
Double damage.
That's a great question for a Dota 2 cast. We got Lena,
It really is.
little Lena, as the MKB
Dire's
to be
middle
able to
tower is
get
under
through the
attack.
butterflies from both ILTW and Miracle. So that's a very good pickup. Is that something
Dire's
you ever
middle
go
tower
for
has
on
fallen.
PL? I know it's not an item you want to, but are you forced to at some point, or are you just gonna like you're just gonna
get
rely on the
MKB?
illusions? Yeah.
Against double butter. I don't know. So I would say PL is my worst win rate hero with over 25 games. I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Great, you're the analyst, so you're
Right.
the only
So the
person.
the thing is, honestly, when I see PLs play, like you said, they don't want to buy it. I can't tell you what the breaking point is for when you have to. That's the thing, right? Like, I think in this game there's a lot of value because you're playing against double butterfly. But even he is queuing it now. So I think if it was one butterfly, he wouldn't do it.
You
that
talked
answers.
long enough for him to choose his next item and farm halfway to it. You are a god. Incredible.
He just, no,
Dire's
he
middle
just farms
tower
really
is
fast.
under
I didn't
attack.
talk that.
Yeah,
so-
that's definitely the case.
So let's say only one of the enemy cores went butter, right? Like the TA or the gyro, but not both. I
Dire's
think
bottom
it's
tower
probably
is
not
under
a good enough
attack.
value proposition against getting another item. But in this game, you might feel like it's necessary. But it really does say something
Dire's
that gets to the
structures
six,
are fortified.
right? These two butters
Dire's
have been
bottom
in
tower
quite a
is
while.
under attack.
Force the fort at the bottom lane, so looks like this is a very even game right
Radiant's
now.
top
I'm not
tower
just saying
is
that because
under
it's only a
attack.
1K net worth lead for Hellbears, but I mean, we talked about late game. We do favor NIGMA, but have to say the gyrocopter, he is super farm, but he has been getting deleted repeatedly. Does have satanic now, so he has extra tankiness later.
That's a big item.
Obviously synergizes with his ag, since even when he's stunned, he will be attacking, getting some lifesteal off of it.
More fuel for my fire.
Wonder when we're going to see
Radiant
some more discs
are
come out as
scanning.
well. We have one on Gilger so far, but it feels like a very, very strong item in this game against the Hoodwink combo. Yeah. Or Enigma. They're just- I gotta say, man, this Axe Hoodwink feels really good. The call to set up your sharpshooter, the fact that you break the people that you call, which just makes Axis team able to pile on way easier against a lot of heroes. The lane itself is pretty strong. There's a lot of damage in it. I like it.
Something we didn't mention,
Dire's bottom tower
but Ace,
is
he
under
got this a
attack.
while ago, was the Shard, which is the Spirit Lance bounces.
Yep.
And we talked about this at the Major, where some people were not going for this at all.
Dire's
So people
middle
call
tower
into
is
the
under
LSA, mind control. He's deleted as well. He does have buyback, though,
Held your
85
feet to the
seconds.
fire.
Doesn't
Dire's
want to use
bottom
it.
tower has fallen.
Almost certainly will have to, though. And you can see Lena just pounding onto the Ranger Rack. So Hellbear
Dire's
Smashers
bottom
are the
barracks
first
has fallen.
to get a Rax of any kind. And it's going to be a full sweep on the
Dire's
bot
bottom
lane.
barracks
Miracle jumps in, but I don't think he actually wants to do anything further here. As the flicker, that's going to be pretty annoying to deal with. Set of racks for Hellbears. Still with buyback here, so... And of course, no fort. Nullifier now.
Buyback out of it.
Miracle. Okay. Oh, Rasmus jumps in, but the Yules. Buyback is there. Now the run-in from NIGMA. Can they catch up to anybody is the question. Ace has a homing missile buyback and obviously just doppelganger away.
Radiant's
So
turret
this with
has
the
been
Ravage
killed.
potentially, but no. Be able to get it off in time. It looks like the retreat will be successful, and there's even a double damage room for the
Who
Lena.
turned up the heat?
If Smashers didn't stack that Eagle plus call, who knows what would have happened to that TA. He does have the 25 talent, so he has a lot of refraction charges. But if PL connects with a lot of illusions, those are removed very quickly. And they could find themselves another big kill. But at the very least, they got the Tide buyback regardless, and they disengage. Again, it's just this... It's this thing about NIGMA's lineup that when Tide isn't there, there's so much freedom for Smashers to do whatever they want. They just get out of there, right? Like, nothing's going to stop them. Gonna start poking here with the PL. And they're gonna miracle this triangle area now. They're just gonna hold the high ground. There's no threat of a roach for a while. Early respawn is in a minute. And this bottom wave will push in. So I reckon as soon as Enigma hero shows bottom, we might see a smoke from Smashers across to the top. Enigma are not going to give them that piece of information. They're actually making the move. Going for a big play here.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah,
is
Bora
under
is
attack.
showing.
Wrap around here. ILTW, he's going to be spotted. The homing missile's already there. Bora Ninja has to be careful because his Yules can now be dispelled thanks to the nullifier. The Aeon Disc as well for who looked at the header. Somebody. Ace. Slowdown is there. Mind Control gets off the Ravage. He's going to connect on a couple of
is under
heroes.
attack.
Into the egg as well. That's the Sunray egg, and Bora Ninja is in a lot of trouble. Gonna get off the Yules for now, but you have to think that he will be the sacrifice at the very least. Gets the Laguna Blade off, but only damage in the end. As that Mind Control jumps in again. Gonna pop the Aeon Disc. Looks like they want to fight. The Lena's gonna buy back into the game. The pressure applies with TA, but sent back to base thanks to the beautiful relocate from GH. But a shot when he comes enough, and ILTW as a result of Io not being there anymore has no save for himself. Kuroki with the dive. Will he? Oh, it's gonna be close. Ace just gets enough
They found
damage.
Miracle. Yes, there.
GH.
Nice timing.
Miracle. The call is there. Into the bushwhack. Down he goes. Wow. One buyback from Bora. And
That was a
4
frame
dead.
perfect Lena.
Dire's top tower is
That was
under
a frame
attack.
perfect Lena. Coming out of that Yules. That was super good. I think, so I believe Miracle did have refraction running, so he can blink
Dire's
out of
middle
the
tower is under
Yules
attack.
lane. But the stun was just perfect. Didn't get to try and
Dire's
blink at
middle
all.
tower has fallen.
This should be the game.
Yeah, they can just go.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
Really got their feet off the
Dire's
ground too
middle
much in terms of
barracks
fighting.
has
They have to farm. Find moves. Tier 4, which will hold here.
Dead rat just jumps in, and the damage applied against ILTW is just more than enough. GH cannot save his brother this time around, and he's going to be the death as well. So this will be game 1 for Hellbear
Radiant
Smashers.
victory.
Very big upset. Again, this is the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed of the upper bracket. So regardless of which team loses in this best of 3, they will have another life. But very good showing from Hellbears, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think they had a... I really like the flavor of the strategy with... You know, I was like, should they have picked the PL against the Ursa? Like, what are you doing with... this hero versus the Ursa as a counter to the enemy team? We obviously don't know if they would have pulled it off as well with Ursa, but he made PL look very, very good in this game simply by virtue of not really being threatened by anything else than Ravage, right? He's getting his items, he's finding his farm, and in these fights he's just constantly poking and prodding, finding good targets, being a nuisance, and setting up his team.
¿qué tal, chicos? Estamos de regreso para ver qué es lo que pasa en esta segunda partida. Y sin más dilación, rápidamente vamos a entrar, chicos, a la fase de Fancy Picks. Me encuentro con el señor Cutipo. Y lo que te dije, Cutipo, ahí está. Respect Ban, tienes el ban de Rasmus de este Axe. Una línea eliminado por parte del equipo de NIGMA también. Un Phantom Lancer, Broodmother, Winter Wyvern. O sea, acá se bajaron a todo el equipo de Smashers de una primera partida.
Directamente, le dieron su respect ban. De verdad, ¿no? Le quitaron casi toda la alineación de la primera partida. Le han quitado,
4 héroes.
Con excepción de
la Hoodwing.
De la Hoodwing, nada más, que lo piquearon, ¿no? Pero después, no sé.
Todo el equipo variado.
Bueno, y es que yo creo que si tú le dejabas al equipo de Hellbear Smasher de coger al Axe, lo agarraban en vez del Dragon Knight fácilmente, Lo podían flexear. Lo demostraron en la partida anterior, así que bastante bueno. Y Hoodwing, si le toca de nuevo ese arbolito, el arbolito GG,
el arbolito GG
para colocar sus combos, definitivamente. Pero bueno, el equipo de Hellbear Smash, por otro lado, van directo, le han quitado a Miracle su Invoker.
And we're back for this vital game 2 between Hellbear Smashers and Team NIGMA. Will NIGMA be dropping down to the lower bracket where they are so comfortable, or will Hellbear Smashers take us to a game 3? Sheepo, talk for me what you want to see in these early picks coming out from these two teams.
I think I would much rather they pick something more on meta like Lion support than sticking with these stubborn GH heroes. He's great at IO, he's great at Rubik, and he's been playing them a bunch, but I do think there's a lot of strength in these heroes like Lion. For a good reason, they're being picked for a reason. You're playing against Hellbear's like Wyvern. Why don't you want that Lion with that finger burst potential to break through that heal? I think I would maybe like to see them sway more in that direction. Even hero like AA has gone through the first phase bans. This
10
time.
seconds remaining.
You're playing against DK here on Hellbears. Why not pick it up?
Maybe
we'll see another Phoenix. Who knows?
We're going to see Hellbears pick up El Clasico of the DK and the Hoodwink. T-Governor, talk to me through this opening pairing.
Yeah, it's stuns for days. You're going to have DK be able to play mid or off lane. If it is going to be your off lane, this is a pretty strong pairing because Hoodwink as a forward needs to have that strong presence in the lane to be able to constantly poke and prod. And that's where these kind of flexible off lane heroes really enable that. And NIGMA, they go straight back for the TA because they were comfortable with it. They knew how to play around it. They just kind of lacked the continued control. We could also just say simply they didn't have enough stuns, but yeah, like they played around it pretty well. It's just they didn't have that extra little bit of something.
Control is more than stuns, my friend. Cheap, do you think this TA was a problem for NIGMA last series, or do you think it's just the dressing around the TA that was the issue?
I like the TA, and I think it's good. Although I will say, I think Hellbear are really taking advantage right now of NIGMA's unwillingness to play certain heroes. They've picked DK Hoodwink. I think a lot of teams would respond with a Timbersaw here. It's not banned. It's really good right now. It's great against both those heroes, but NIGMA just don't play mind control. He leans far more into these team fighting heroes like Axe, Mars, Sanking, Tide, like we just saw. So I think that it's good from Hellbear that they're taking advantage of that. NIGMA is going to take this TA instead, which I think is fine, but I would have liked to have seen Timber.
Well, we've still got time for a Timber. It's not been banned out by either team. NIGMA could ban it out themselves here in a radical kick flip of a move, but they're going to take out that Luna on Hellbear and final ban coming out from Team NIGMA. If you're in Rasmus's ears, T-Governor, as you have been on many occasions, which is where you live as a little borrower, what are you telling him to pick now?
Oof. Well, I'm telling him to pick just more stuns. I'd actually even tell him just play the DK, mate. Just allow Boromir to play this kind of jumping style of mid lane or have a bit more impact and just sacrifice yourself in the draft. I think often Smashers get into a position of overflexing and they get a bit too happy. Oh, this can go here, this can go there. And they get to like 4th pick and like, wait, what? Why do we have? So I think right now it's just let this be your offlane duo and then just play a normal game of Dota. I'm trying to think right now.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you. I was just going to say the idea of the Timbersaw, I think maybe why they won't ban it out is because they're forcing NIGMA down the same route as Game Run. It's like you have this one stun, and if you want to pick this good counter to our opening duo, you're going to sacrifice this big impact on the offlane. And that's why they're not really picking it up. And additionally, in the first phase bans, the pick order and the side order is the same. But they changed their ban, giving away the Nyx, but banning out the puck instead. A puck in this game 2, would have been a great adaptation for NIGMA because they realized they needed that cheap lockdown. And if you pick a puck, it solves all those problems, right? So they kind of forced the draft onto NIGMA. It's like going into game 2, you have to pick this hero. We're banning out a good like a development pick, and then we're taking a strong combo. So I like how Smashers, have won game 1, then identified how they might be outdrafted in game 2, and really pushed it into NIGMA to really try and keep inventing throughout the draft.
We've still got the Phoenix available, which is a top pick for both of these teams. NIGMA player on both 4 and 5. I'd imagine they'd be playing on 5 here if they were to pick it up. And Hellbear's player on 5 as well. So would you expect to see that coming out here? Oh, there we go. I didn't need to question you.
So good, Big Jams.
I know. I'm a literal god. Please work.
Okay, so what's this next pick then? Almighty God and Overseer of the Draft.
Don't put me on the spot. Sheepstick for the panelists. Tell us what.
I want to see some snap fire. Come on.
Remaining.
I think this is going to be a puck.
5 seconds.
And they're going to play the TA as a carry. I know that's an insane pick, but imagine if I was right.
Almighty God, you are so wrong because puck's banned, sir.
Oh, it is banned. You put me on. There's too much pressure. I'm not capable.
You gave yourself the god title, all right? No panelist in the history of Dota has ever tried calling themselves a god before, so we had to bring you back down to earth, almighty host.
Yeah, you did. I'm humbled.
There's no evidence that God has eyes, so we can forgive him for now.
Enchantress.
Enchantress. That was your second pick. I know you did type it to me, Dan. That's fine.
They kind of go in the same route, though. I mean, they have this Nyx Assassin to start fights this time, which is a lot better, I think. It's very much less committal than a Tidehunter Ravage. And you can scout with it. You can get a blink on it, start with Impale.
5 seconds
remaining. You still have this TA, this Ench, who aren't going to fulfill that role. Maybe they'll pick up the offlaner next on NIGMA before some more heroes get banned out, so they can actually have a little bit more control this time.
What offlaner do you think they would like, Sheep?
I would probably just like to see one of my controls, like classic Sand King, Teamfight, Initiator Men.
You're making a face too. What's that face?
When you said classic, and I was like Furion.
No, not Furion. Anything but Furion.
Come on.
What a terrible Furion game this would be.
All right. So right now, NIGMA's lineup is like enter the lane winner and has some kind of presence there. Okay. Don't pick Furion now. All right, don't do it. There's a TV.
No, you should pick Furion. Right? This is really great.
All right. Okay. If they picked any other weaker carry style hero, then maybe I could go for that argue. Pietro? No, is it banned? Where?
It's banned. It's banned.
It's down there. Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Dire team banned.
But like NIGMA right now, it's about presence in the lane, right? It's like the Enchantress will win lane, TA will farm jungle. They now go for the Drow themselves because, of course, Drow v TB, you always can just execute the TB from range. And they are going to play completely skirmishing. They're not going to farm for 15, 20 minutes and wait. They're going to be the ones being proactive, is what we wanted to see from them in game 1.
We've got last picks coming up here with Hellbear Smashers probably looking for a mid laner and Team NIGMA probably looking for an off laner. I mean, when I say probably, I mean almost definitely looking for an off laner. Sheep, what sort of, I've asked before about the off laner that you'd like to see on Team NIGMA. Is it still for you that Mind Control Classic, or does the Drow offer some sort of other alternatives?
I would really like to see Doom on NIGMA. Excellent hero to deal with Terrorblade.
Team banned.
Phoenix, you get this refresher, you can just doom them both. So I don't want to deal with anything. I think Phoenix is a relatively weak lane support, so if they are playing it as a 5, you're not too worried about this lane. I don't think he got armor buff, so you can deal with laning a little bit better in the off lane.
10
I think it's a good hero can go in first with this Nyx. I think it provides what they want. I think it'd be great here.
5 seconds remaining.
And T, how about you? What do you want to see on Hellbears closing up in this mid lane?
I want to see a hero that can get onto the Drow and prevent her from just kind of popping off. They're banning out Batrider and Mars, which would have been these kind of so Mars would have been off lane, but potentially these kind of quirkier mid lanes that can just do that kind of job. And I feel like maybe even a Storm. Sure, there's a Nyx in the game, but like a Sanj, Kaya, BKB style Storm Spirit that just always just finds the hero. Again, stuns are a big issue for Nigma. They have Nyx, they have maybe a Centaur creeping Enchantress, a Gust on Silent, on Drow, and that's it. You know, so I feel like these just big mobile mid lanes, be it the Storm, get Drow, play around that. TB will eventually just, you know, play around the rest of the fight.
Baronasia's still got Void Spirit and Storm Spirit to in his pool here as they ban out the Underlord. So quite a lot of those stun picks. I was thinking Mars for Team Nigma. I'm surprised they banned it because that's another classic mind control one. There's not a lot of offlaners left because both teams have been banning out offlaners
10
consistently
seconds
here.
remaining.
So it could be something like a Centaur. We're in the
5
interesting world of
seconds
offlaners
remaining.
The Timber is still available, right? Like,
Timber is
I don't think you want to play that in
no stuns.
Phoenix.
Yeah, true. The break. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like,
Radiant
you don't really
team
have
pick.
stuns now. Oh, there's the Timber. Hey,
What do I know? What do I know? I'm just bad.
I did it. No, that's fine. Don't worry. No, but you are right though in regards to the idea of like the Timber. It doesn't feel great for the big picture point of the game, where there's the break on the Hoodwink, the Phoenix Sunray, all this
10
stuff. Not gonna feel
seconds
great.
remaining.
But the first 15 to 20 minutes, this hero will pop off, and that's why
5
the Drow, the
seconds
Ench,
remaining.
these heroes play with that. They're kind of fully subscribing to popping off, not playing for late, and that's why I kind of like the idea of Timber. But again, I can see Sheep's kind of concerns with the hero as well.
Sheep,
Just
what
feel
you
like
were
they would
talking
get
about a
bursted.
lot when you were, sorry to interrupt, but what you were talking about a lot when you introduced this draft of what you wanted from Team Nigma was stuns. They've got one stun properly
Choose
here.
your hero.
How do you feel about this draft as we see that Storm Spirit that we were predicting?
I don't quite like it, but if we're going by what T says that they're just going to run at you really fast, I think their lineup fulfills that without needing all this great pick off. I think if they get into this mid to late game, they're going to struggle a lot. They don't have anything to protect this Drow going further into the game. It will get rough for Nigma, but if they are good enough to execute this type of draft, so I think they can still put up a good fight.
Okay,
Yeah.
T, do you think Team Nigma are good enough to execute this, or are you predicting a Hellbear's win?
If they bring Ench Nyx to mid lane and prevent Storm from having good time farming, jungle farming lane, offset his time, I can see Nigma winning this. If Storm has a decent game,
10
has one or two
seconds
items,
remaining.
when Nigma's pushing for high ground, they are eventually going to fall flat to one of those pickups.
5
And I think
seconds
Hellbear
remaining.
Smashers should be able to take this going later. So all emphasis on how they shut down the mid lane right now from Nigma.
Great. Well, can Team Nigma run away from it, or is it coming home for Hellbear Smashers? I'm going to hand over to the sumptuous sounds of Cinderin and Sunsfan.
Sumptuous. Wow. We're going to have
Right,
a new word
Googling
every
again.
time, huh? You're going to Google every word that you actually know the definition beforehand?
Splendid and expensive looking. Yeah, I mean, this
Okay.
shirt that's
I did have a lot of work on my face. I will say that. So technically very true.
and more to go.
A lot. We need liposuction necks just for the neck area. But yeah, we have game 2 of this best of 3 Cinder and Hellbear Smashers versus Team Nigma. Nigma are the heavy favorites, I would say. I don't know if that's going too far. They lost game 1. But of course, the panel talked about the Smashers. They have been known to win a game and then lose the rest. Are you expecting a similar result here today?
I like their strategy. Again, I think, like the panel again pointed out, there's one stun in the Nyx. If the Nyx doesn't get to thrive and shut down a lot, you have the Storm Spirit and the enemy team with a lot of space. And I do, again, feel like it's not the same as game 1, aside from the fact that they only have this one hero with a stun, because this time I think Nigma are playing a faster tempo than last game. Last game they were farming a lot with their
Prepare
gyro,
for
with
battle.
their TA, with their tide. This time their offlaner being a Timbersaw can put a lot more pressure on the map and play higher tempo than the Tide can. Just lower cooldowns, earlier power spike. So that's definitely good for them, but I don't know. I'm still not sold. I need to see it in action. I need to see Nigma put their pedal to the metal and really get something done here early on. And if there's one hero Kuro, like, let's think back to the major. There's one hero where Kuro pops off, it's Ench. So we had that game where he went like 7-0 in the first, I want to say 10 minutes.
I think he got an ultra kill that game, if I'm not mistaken.
He was very, very far.
And we'll see if he has a similar result this time around. But for the Smasher side, shout out to the guy that tweeted at me. Really appreciate you. The correct pronunciation is
30
Borania.
seconds to battle.
Cinderin.
I got
So
another tweet.
Did you? And?
Yes, which says both are correct. It can either be Borania or Borania, depending on which accent you use. He thinks it's probably Borania because of a big N in the name.
Yes.
And it means green beans.
Great. I'm not a big fan.
Green beans.
Are you a fan of green beans?
Yeah, they're actually pretty. I do like green beans.
The battle begins.
Good for you. I'm glad you like something in life.
But I don't like celery. So when Viking are playing later, we can hate on that.
I love I mean, I like the player cell. Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm on the train as you. As we're gonna see a split of the bounties. There's absolutely zero action. I feel like we've been seeing less action in the last month for the level 1 bounties. I don't know if it's just me. Remember when it was first implemented with nighttime, we started seeing like these first bloods every single game, basically. It feels like it's kind of died off a bit. Why do you think that is?
Denied! Good question. I guess if you do stack on bounties, you do run the risk of, well, what if the enemy team just isn't there? Then you end up trading regardless, but your heroes now have to cross the entire map to get to their lanes, or use a TP, which is a very valuable resource. So I think a lot of the times maybe players are just looking at like the risk reward. If we stack the rune, does it matter? And if we don't stack, the maximum amount of heroes we can realistically send to a rune is 3. Because if we send any more, we're either not blocking mid or we're not in our other side lane. So, yeah, I guess it's just like a natural progression of it. There are still some level 1 smokes pulled off, but I feel like they often find the kill before the bounties rather than on them.
What do you think of this setup as
Tofu's super dead.
Completely blocked out, and that is the first blood for NIGMA. I was going to ask, what do you think of it started as ILTW and GH in this lane, KuroKy coming in to help backstab there, but what are your thoughts on the laning setup for the respective team?
I think it's perfect for NIGMA. This is what you want. It's such a good top lane for Timbersaw against Dragon Knight +1. They don't have enough damage between Hoodwink and DK to realistically kill Mind Control, and as soon as he gets level 3, he'll just thrive here. This is going to farm. And in the meantime, this bottom lane of Smashers will struggle because Terrorblade, while he would be decent against the dual lane here, the tri-lane factor just makes him too susceptible, and he has to always be scared when Enchantress is missing and trying to find a flank. Koro's actually going to elect to go mid here with a Satyr Tormentor. This would be a very unexpected gank for Borania.
Borania is very low right now. You can see the Hellbear, the Shockwave comes out, the blocks to continue. With his own wave contributing to it, has to pop the Fairy Fire, but
Radiant's
in the end,
middle
Miracle gets
under
actually
attack.
KuroKy gets the kill with the Satyr.
Classic Kuro.
Never seen a more beautiful.
Very sad indeed. As we're gonna see another kill in a solo mode. Wow. Okay, so each lane there's a kill for NIGMA.
Radiant's middle tower
I don't know
is
how
under
valuable
attack.
that kill was for Mind Control. He lost a full wave of creeps that Rasmus is holding at the tower, so I'm gonna chalk that death up to honestly being a trade.
Radiant are scanning.
You see Rasmus coming out here. They're playing a dual lane, and Rasmus has the same experience as Mind Control right now. So that means all of that experience on Hoodwink is just extra. So they are winning the lane in terms of overall experience gain, but still nice for Mind Control to find a kill, of course. But he does have the 2 CS to the 12 of Dragon Knight. They're definitely,
That is true. I mean, there's a certain point where Timbersaw, once you get level 4, I assume, and it's basically unkillable, at least in most matchups. Is that pretty consistent with this one, or is it a little bit different?
Usually you will go 1-0-2 or 0-1-2, so you get the 2 in reactive on level 3, but he skilled the Timber Chain to find that kill in the Hoodwink. So yeah, he's delaying the immortality almost in the lane to level 4, like you said, and he's grabbing that now. I think, honestly, I like this from Gilgir. If Rasmus has this good of a start on the Dragon Knight that he can 1v1 in this lane and just farm, Gilgir can try to deal with the pressure elsewhere on the map, and by moving after Kuro, is essentially giving Terrorblade farm bot, who otherwise doing great. Ace has 17. 16 for 9 on the Terrorblade after Kuro started bot for that tri-lane action. And of course, when he rotated mid for that kill, you open up space for mid, but still, yeah, Smash is doing well in lanes.
Mid lane, I mean, Miracle obviously helped. Well, he didn't technically get the kill, but he has double the CS right now over Borania in this mid lane. TA versus
Huge
Storm.
advantage from that Ench gank.
That helped quite a bit.
Ace bot. Ace is dead.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that last right click, not quite enough, but KuroKy is in the vicinity. Ace does have a TP available. We'll use it, go to the tier 1. Like he'll be successful in doing so. Gilgar, in the meantime, does get up a nice bushwhack, so they do see 3 members of NIGMA here.
Enchantress.
And Salvan Ace will keep them safe. So that was extremely close, but I mean, it's not a good matchup in general with Kuro having that level of impetus. Any magic or pure damage against this hero. Timbersaw obviously great against Terrorblade at certain points of the game. I mean, what do you think of the hero in general this game? It was a 4th pick, I believe, right, from the Smashers.
Honestly, a lot of the time when it comes to later in the game for Terrorblade, I think one of the biggest threats to him is getting stunned. Like, that's when you can't get your Sunder off, and you can get bursted 100 to 0. It's hard to see NIGMA pull that off in this game in one Nyx stun. They probably need all of TA, Timber, and Drow to be able to connect once Ace has a couple of items. So I think it's a good Terrorblade game later on. But for now, obviously some of the counters are definitely very much in play. Like you said, the Enchantress. The Drow is pretty good in lane against Terrorblade, especially when she reaches level 6. At that point, Ace might just go jungle anyway.
Radiant's middle tower is under
you
attack.
talked about it just now, and the panel kind of talked about earlier as well, the fact that the lack of stun from NIGMA again, like 2 games in a row. Is this just something they're, like, obviously when you have a lesser stuns on your side, it's harder to execute, generally speaking. But is it just something they're really comfortable with? Like, is this like a planned thing? It just happens to be heroes that they want to play that just don't have stuns? Are we just overstating this fact that they have lack of stuns in general?
It's better this time because Nyx's stun is not Ravage, right? It's a lower cooldown, so you have it more frequently, and you do have the secondary stunning Carapace as
bot lane. Toku's dead. He's actually gonna dive all the way around 360. Beautifully done. The PW getting blocked up by Gilgar. In the meantime, Ace has that metamorphosis, so they're able to clean him up. Very high value kill for Smashers.
That's great for Smashers bottom lane, getting a 2 for 1. Under those conditions, the Phoenix got jumped, and they immediately just popped the metamorphosis and traded right back. But yeah, just to follow up on the stuns, I don't think that's like a plan they have going into the game, that they're like, hey guys, let's not pick stuns in this series. Like, I don't.
Maybe they have a
like a really weird way of strategizing. Yeah. It sounds like a weird way of strategizing, but yeah, I'm still feeling like they should have at least one more hero that has lockdown. I feel like just having Nyx is hard. It's still better than just having Tide. Unless, so here's where the last game's line up. This is a little bit of a tangent, I guess, but in the last game, to put it simply, a lot of the time if you have very few stuns, but the stun you do have is a big team fight one, it can work very well if you can force the enemy team to come fight you at towers, right? Then that's your quote-unquote catch, is that you go to towers and they need to defend. But what were their cores in last game? It was TA and Gyro. It wasn't like a Dragon Knight or a Terrorblade that's going to smash that tower, so you have to come and fight into the Ravage. So I do think that there was a bit of a disconnect there. Those are the games where I like the one stun Tide kind of.
No.
Did that make sense?
Yep. Yes, the very long tangent made a lot of sense. I mean, they do have the Centaur Stomp. We failed to mention, obviously, Enchantress will be valuing that.
Gonna have that all game.
Very respectable creep, of course. You just got to put in the gold, and you will get that creep that you want every time. But in addition, you talk about Nyx Assassin. We've been seeing Aghanim Scepter like every single freaking game on this hero. And it has had huge impact on games. As GH is going to find a stun onto Gilgar in the meantime. But there's a TP out, and like you said, no stuns after that Impale without that Centaur in tow.
It's still good though. Like, yeah, he doesn't die, but they force him away, and this is now a naked tower that nobody's getting experience at. Obviously, the Hoodwink wants to sit there and just leech, so it's kind of a pseudo kill, forcing the TP back to base, because he's now going to waste. And Terrorblade has decided to leave the lanes. That is really far up here.
He was trying to apply some pressure to this tier 1, but NIGMA are here in numbers, and there we can see the Spike Carapace set up another stun, but it's not quite enough to take out Token. In the meantime, Bornea trying to finish off Miracles. Ace has made his way onto
no mana on Mind
field
Control
as well. And Mind Control not able. He has Soul Ring in 3 seconds, and
it's not
saved
even
by
my
his team as
birthday.
Bornea has to use basically the rest of his mana pool just to get out of the right-click range here. I mean, this is something we didn't talk about from NIGMA's side. Between the TA, eventually, obviously, and the Drow, they have some major push potential.
Miracle's hungry. Oh, a nice juke from Tofu. Very nice.
It's going to be found out here, though. Gets the bushwhack off in the meantime. It's going to break things up, so no deaths in the mid lane.
I have not seen many jukes around that tree. This is obviously one of the newer features of the map, but very nice. He completely tricks Miracle, who was honestly very kill hungry there, and I understand he has double damage. He felt invincible, so he went for it.
He has a lot of trouble. Impales there, but the zip away. Multi-shot not quite enough. Is now they're going to apply all the pressure to this tier 1 tower.
Radiant's middle tower
Smashers
is under attack.
can only delay the inevitable, it seems. So this tower is definitely dead now.
Loving
Radiant's
this from
middle
NIGMA. It's
tower
exactly
has
what their
fallen.
lineup wants to do. Use the Timber Sauce, Power Spike, use the Enchantress to get this early pressure. Getting mid tower sub 10 is very good against Dragon Knight, who will usually be pushing your mid tower and forcing you to defend. You instead just killed him and did the reverse. Immediate Uno reverse play.
Radiant are scanning.
Wow, I haven't played that in a while. You a big Uno player?
No.
Okay. Well,
Good talk.
Dire's top tower is
That's the
under
best
attack.
segment I've ever. We should add that to the podcast, I think. Is bottom lane, GH. And this is one thing about the Spike Carapace against a Phoenix type hero is you get those Fire Spirits out, it's going to be a pretty much guaranteed stun. Rasmus getting pressured in the meantime. Top lane by Mind Control. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana to speak of, and only a couple right clicks done to this tower. Although it is at half HP, but Kuroki's here now. A couple right clicks with that impetus. Just trying to pressure Rasmus out so he doesn't get the tier 1 in one go.
Wasting Dragon Forms is really the name of the game for NIGMA here. They want to stay ahead on towers, so their biggest problem for the Dragon Knight is literally just how do I get through Timber? Because his team can't really kill him right now. This is nice from Rasmus. He's gonna cut through. He sees Timber at the front. He's gonna go hit the tower around the side and back off.
Dire's top tower
Getting
is
whatever
under
chip damage
attack.
he can. But once again, Dragon Forms now down, and he has yet to take a tower at 11 minutes on this DK. Job well done for NIGMA here.
Indeed. Now in useless human form, gets off the Dragon Tail, but that'll be the end of his reign for another 50 seconds. Borania working on an Orchid. That's going to be his first item, has the 1 Oblivion Staff right now.
I like that. They should rename the abilities. Like powerful Dragon Form and useless human.
Radiant's top tower
To
is
really,
under
for
attack.
new players, as a way of understanding how to play their hero.
Maybe it's
I am
unlocked with
garbage
the
now.
new Persona, which Rasmus does not have, sadly. Make the hero even easier to play. We got enough of Dragon Tail here. Yeah, we can just call that stun, right? Yeah. Give him the Slardart treatment. Ace is in the vicinity, along with Gilgar here. Bushwhack not able to connect on the Sharpshooter, will be in the blind. Will end up whiffing there. Another stun from Rasmus. He's going to get pressure now. Mind Control gets off the Chakram. Be pretty
Really
careful here.
fortunate, by the way, for Gilgar to get the Ironwood Tree 2 games in a row.
Which is right. Yeah.
It's it is so good on Hoodwink, so it's gonna
You
be happy
think
about
that there's a
Radiant's
percentage?
middle tower is under attack.
We're actually going to find GH. He's going to get zipped on as well. There is a sentry in the vicinity. And this is going to be an easy cleanup. So now you know that there's a sentry there, but it costs him a death. What if the percentages of neutral items, and you didn't even know about it, just went up by X% if you're playing a specific hero?
Yeah. What if?
What if that was already in the game for the last 2 years and we didn't even know it? That'd be crazy.
There are tools that are stat tracking, right? I feel like that would become an anomaly at some point. If you look at the stats for every game played.
Stats lie. I don't know if you've heard this. That's a very common thing.
Stats are a
where I
lie.
come from.
Correct.
Absolutely. Mind Control. All right. Reflection is there. Timber Chain to the other side. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Bushwhack is going to connect into the Metamorphosis, into the Zip as well. And the Sharpshooter just to make sure they're able to take out that pesky Timber Saw. Now the Tier 1 tower. Rasmus finally
Dire's
able to
top
finish
tower
this
is
off.
under attack.
So, like you said, it took 13 and a half minutes.
Dire's top
It's
tower
looking
has
great. I think
fallen.
Gilgar's doing a very good job at just playing the... I think the biggest strength of Hoodwink in the first 15 to 20 minutes is just this ability to just be kind of a, it's an assassin. It's kind of playing like Nyx.
Radiant's
That
bottom
it's
tower
coming out of
is
trees
under
where you
attack.
don't expect it. Even if you have vision in the lanes, you can still get flanked somehow out of an angle you didn't think about, and just sets up that nice stun burst combo similar to what Nyx does. So,
Right.
it is. I think the ranged Nyx sounds pretty powerful to me.
Yeah, I would say so.
Dire's
The melee
structures
hero.
are fortified.
Tier 1 tower getting pressured in the bot lane. Looks like it's going to go down. The question is, can Tofu deny? He actually had the
Radiant's bottom
opportunity,
tower
but
has fallen.
wants to stay in the shadows right now. Borania. This is another target from GH perspective. You can get up an easy Spike Carapace setup as long as there's a teammate nearby.
Yeah, you need
just put
TA
that
near
for static
to
evidence.
so he has haste on Miracle or Nia.
Yeah, things have kind of settled down a bit now that these couple tier 1 towers have been taken out. If you're just joining us, the Hellbear Smashers are actually up 1-0, similar to what the Suns are in the NBA Finals versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, good spoiler.
In case you weren't keeping up on the NBA news. GH, that was not Vendetta. He's actually That's the jump in. Okay, Sharpshooter's actually not going to connect. So no break onto the Timbersaw here.
Haste.
Ooh, this could be a big stun. GH looking for the impale. Only going to connect on one, but it's a very important hero. The Gust is there as well. An easy cleanup for Team NIGMA. Looks like Gilder will be next on the menu for Mr. Miracle. Double kill for him.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Miracle is insanely farmed. 10 CS a minute. He's gonna go straight to Rosh in these 20 seconds. I think they're gonna grab this as well. So huge swoop here from NIGMA on that move. Getting the Gust on Storm crucial. That's a nice Orchid coming out from Borania, but he was already stunned, and then piece of cake for LTW to land that Gust. And we'll give this Aegis more than likely over to Miracle so he can keep the ball rolling.
Roshan has fallen to the
so.
ground.
And getting the last
Dire's
hit
middle
on
tower
Roach for the
is
bonus
under
goal.
attack.
It's pretty concerning for Smashers right now. I think compared to the last game, the position that they're in with their lineup, it feels like the pressure is mounting a lot more. Where NIGMA were sitting back in game 1, they're really just fighting them a lot, using this Timbersaw and the Nyx.
Bottom lane, GH gets off the initiation, but the egg is there from Tofu. I thought they had enough damage for sure, but instead it's going to be a cleanup crew onto GH. ILTW dies on the other side of the map in the meantime. Was that the Orchid reveal? I believe so. So it's a 2-for-0 across the map for Smashers. Wow.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Not expecting that.
Now all I can think about is Rom.
Tofu?
Egg from Tofu. It's like, oh, could really...
Yeah, that would have been a good name for Rasmus, maybe. By the way, I got the heads up from T-Gov on the lore behind Rasmus's name. Obviously, it's his first name. We already knew that.
Yeah.
Apparently, you were correct in the fact that he thought Misery was too depressing. So he changed it to his first name. And then the reason that the A and the S are capitalized is because he thought it looked cool. That's literally it. That is the greatest lore of any name.
I think you should capitalize the last S as well, so it's A. So that's kind of, I think that's, and that's very...
Not sure if he's close with Too Good, but that could be another discussion entirely. This double stack is going to be found here from Team NIGMA. They'll be able to clean it up pretty easily now that Miracle has the daggers coming out.
The hidden ones.
I think it's really go time for NIGMA here. You want to put pressure. Now that you have the dagger on TA, you are way less reliant on Nyx's catch to get on top of specific heroes. Like the TA can basically 2-shot Phoenix, 2-shot Hoodwink. If you need to have pretty quick reactions on these heroes to get away in time. If there's literally anything else connecting on you than the TA, you just die so fast. You're going to see Tofu here. He's in a trap. Let's see if Miracle tries for it. Tofu with a good sidestep around the trees here. Really fortunate timing, actually. But there's the third attack coming in.
Oh, the Yules gives him a little bit of extra time, and he's actually salving on top of it.
Oh, that looked spicy for a moment.
Sideblade did clip him, so the salve gets canceled.
He lives! How is that even a hit?
That was pretty far range.
Did you pull out of the
The trap out. Yeah, they're scared. Courier was killed on Miracle's side not too long ago. Has the Deso blink like you talked about the Dragon Eyes, and ILTW dies again. They're going to focus on Ace here. Sunder is available, but the stun just in time from GH, so position 1 for position 1. Now the chase is on. Tofu is still living.
One on NIGMA's team. It's not ILTW this game.
Bounty.
It's another guy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's very hungry, and he will find more food. 1, 2, 3. Not enough for 3.
The rainbow. Rainbows have never hurt so much. Wishwhack only going to connect on 1. Gilgert trying to use his ult to create a little bit of extra distance, but the triple kill for Miracle, pretty extended. This was over the span of a minute. But he is on another
Radiant's
level right
top
now.
tower is
He's
under attack.
4,000 net worth ahead of the next hero, and NIGMA have a 1k lead. So this is one of those games where it's I'm not going to say it's Miracle against the world, because that's like making it sound like he's committed doing nothing, but you have so much net worth on one specific hero that is notorious for being snowbally and being susceptible in some cases. if Hellbear Smashers identify that the gold is sitting the way it is, killing Miracle just wins them fights. Because there's not enough in the tank from the rest of the lineup with how much he has taken out of the bank.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Very, very good target
Dire's
for
courier
Hellbear Smashers
has
coming
been
going
killed.
forward here. And managed to lock that down. And he is very killable, right? He's playing without BKB. They don't have a save in their team. So if he gets caught by, say,
Radiant's
a Storm
middle
or
tower
a
is
Dragon
under
Tail
attack.
or by a Hoodwink Bushwhack,
Dire's top
I think
tower
he can
is under
they can
attack.
100-0 him relatively easily, actually.
Yep, I agree. Well, right now they can't because he has Aegis, but after
That's why
that.
they're playing Circus.
And as a result of this aggressiveness, the tier 2 tower
Radiant's
looks to
middle
be
tower is
basically
under
dead.
attack.
Bornea is in the vicinity.
Radiant are scanning.
Sporting off the Kaya right now. But yeah, looks like it's going to be a freebie. This is essentially what Aegis will get you. Outer towers
Radiant's
at the very least.
middle
Not sure if
tower
NIGMA
has
actually
fallen.
want to force a fight,
Radiant's courier has been killed.
or if Hellbear Smashers will even try to fight at this stage. As you talked about the BKB, Miracle is 700 away from finishing it, so he is gigantic.
There's a lot of good items coming out. Terrorblade is close to his BKB as well. 1k off. You've got the shard coming up for Phoenix in 50. They're actually choosing to smoke right before they get the shard. Dragon Knight could buy his Sanj, but he's holding on to buyback Rasmus. See if they do find anything with the smoke. The biggest pick possible is Miracle. Aegis has expired, so this is the reason they're smoking. And they're going to see him on the wave. Oh, this is such a good move. He's dead. He doesn't have dagger.
Link into the Dragon Tail, Sunray to follow, and yeah, this is an easy one. That
They
is
even get the
600 gold
bounty on
for
Ace. Perfect
Yeah.
for them. Gilgir, best efforts to kill steal there with Sharpshooter, but it was a little bit too slow. And unfortunately for him, the gold goes to his carry, who's more likely to win the game with that gold. So
Yeah, real shame.
Dire's
Real
middle
crying shame.
tower is under attack.
that's going to be BKB coming out for Ace now before the BKB of Miracle. Because of this one kill, it just swings the balance that much.
Dire's top tower
And
is
that's a
under
key
attack.
item for Hellbear Smashers, I think, in order to contest the Roche. So you might be like, why is Terrorblade choosing to go for BKB when he's literally only against the Nyx stun and a Gust? But the damage mitigation against Timbersaw is just huge. It allows him to stand his ground in the fights. He has a lot of armor against the TA, so he'll survive that in BKB. And against the Drow, he should also be able to handle it.
Like Terrorblade and the Lotus Sword basically stop this initiation and start things out, but it's not going to matter. GH is done. Mind control looks to be next to LTW on the high ground with the guts and slow up for Ania and Rasmus thanks to Miracle's right clicks and make it a third. Ace takes a tumble, and just like that, Team NIGMA take a firm grip on this game. They even find a fourth in the backline here for Mind Control. And we talked about this, Cinderin, if there's no Roche, you can get buildings super fast with a Drow and a super farm TA.
That looked
This is
that
gonna
looked
hurt.
really good for Hellbear.
Who said you could
I
stroll
completely
in my
understand why they went
woods?
for that. Oh, they're gonna get Gilgir here as well. Juke.
All right, the Scurry being of some
So-
delays it.
So they found the kill on Nyx, right? And they see Timber, and they feel like they're in a really good position. Miracle response comes back in, and he just two-shots them with Drower. Like, that one Psyblade, I think, took 30 or 40% of Dragon Knight's health
Dire are
while he was
scanning.
hitting the Storm. They just vanished completely. And that is scary. Obviously, Storm's still susceptible to being gusted. I'm not completely sold on his item build of going Orchid Bloodstone here, because I think when you look at how their lineup functions, if Storm has the freedom to jump, the rest of the team can follow up so easily. So I would have personally liked the BKB here out of Borania, just so he can ignore Gust and ignore the Nyx and just be like, oh, I see a target I want, I can go. They're never going to stop me, but he is obviously very susceptible to that Gust, which has killed him twice this game now. And ILTW has even elected to go for a Shadow Blade just to find more Gusts against this hero.
Wow, he is. This is the pub build from Dota 1. Of course, Dragonlance didn't exist back then, but the Lothar's sniper / Drow meta. I don't know if you were part of that. That was a disgusting period in Dota history, a very dark time in our history.
It really was a disgusting time in Dota history. I remember Techies was my favorite hero. So
oh my god.
Those were my dark years.
Is that actually true,
Silence.
Tofu? He's going to get spotted out. The silence is
Dire's
there.
bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah. That Roche was the first
Dire's
Roche, right?
structures are fortified.
Yes.
So Miracle bought his shard, actually. That's pretty cool. So gets the silence on the trap.
I think I think, yeah, they want the silence on traps against Storm, and if they do for as a second Roach, they're going to give us the 10%. Oh, they got the jump on Miracle.
He's in a bit of trouble here, but mind control is stupendous. Bornea's already used half of it. A big bushwhack on the 2. Initiation Sharpshooter's going to be connected, but it's on the Timber Saw. They really want Miracle caught the BKB. He dies anyway. Now Chocolate on the 2 with the Gus on the sideline. LTW. Both are taking the full effect. He gets 2 force out of this. The Thunder comes through though from Ace and the BKB. That is a dead Drow range. GH looks to be next, despite Carapace not in time because of the BKB timing there. Triple kill for Ace. Huge fight. Smash it. Did cost him a buyback though.
Why is everyone tipping Ace? That was Gilger getting a dream stun. They're all just tipping Ace. He literally set that whole thing up with a double stun on Timber as well as TA.
Oh, and Roche
leads into Roche. This is so big for them. Again though, I gotta say, I think Borneo got dusted again. Isn't that what happened? I think he got gusted and killed for a 3rd time in a row now. He's still
tossed out of the Shadow Blade into a Gust. Yeah, we're gonna see the Bushwhack again. Gilder has been absolute god tier on this hero, by the way. I know some of it's set up with the Ironwood tree, some RNG there, but Tofu, okay, he has his egg, so not in that much trouble really. Just trying to delay things here is Team NIGMA. Mind control. He might just jump in. The egg is there with the Sun Ray coming through. He picks up the shard on top of all of this. And down eventually. Egg connects. Finally. Next on the menu. 5 versus 1 essentially. The buyback onto Kuro, but will this matter? I mean, the 2 cores are available. 2K network lead for NIGMA. And Roche at basically 3rd HP. They're going to jump in the Miracle, but there's the Gust of All. A huge Bushwhack again! Onto 2! Can they do it? Gets all the refraction just in time. Bornea trying to do enough right-click damage, but Miracle with the BKB can't sustain it. Buyback is available, though, on this Storm Spirit. Now the BKBs are gone. Ace has to pop his BKB, gets that Sunder off onto Kuro. This will be a dieback on him if he's not careful. Phoenix jumps in as well. Has already used basically everything. Has to be careful as Ace needs to get this kill before Tofu takes the tumble. That is a dieback onto Kuro.
Mind control holding his the whole time, not buying back for this fight. They do have the outpost, so he could have TP'd in, but instead now they're giving grounds to Smashers who, there's no BKB on the TA. I think going in this Miracle here is really difficult. If you just get Dragon Tail and you're in trouble, he gets forced away here like this from Rasmus as long as he stays alive. Still not doing
they just don't have the damage. Now that meta is down, they just have to... This is going to be one of those stalemates, I feel like. 15 seconds on Storm. Does have buyback. Oh my god, he might have... I don't know. The Roach will get decimated by NIGMA for sure. They are now in the pit. 5 seconds on Storm. He could basically zip from base. But now they forced him out of the pit, so he'll have time to just TP back normally. This is a huge turning point here, potentially.
They do have meta, and they do have Dragon Form. Actually, everything except Sundra is ready.
He'll get that kill after that, but he's going to have to buy back in the game. But they get Rasmus in the end, and now the silence onto Bornea has to zip away. He did find ICW in the end. Pretty big kill as well. So essentially, it's a Drow for a Dragon Knight, if you want to look at it that way. Ace has already popped the meta. Now he's almost forced to go for this Roche. Enigma just need to try to delay this as long as possible. It's already half duration on meta. They got the troll in the meantime. Miracle, he's ready to go. I don't know if they can take this Roche anymore. So.
I think they want to try to find a pick, but they've lost their Dragon Knight, so the guy who has to go into the Storm, and he's a bit worried about committing, I think.
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
Going to steal a tier B illusion here.
Ace's meta is almost done. This is risky business right here, my friend. Chakram gonna scout those out. Not a damage being done. Roshan pops into his melee from this. He hangs on the side lane into the Sunray as well. Roshan is taken out by the Smasher. Michael gets stunned in the meantime. Bornea picks up the Aegis. Not sure who gets the shard and cheese. We'll have to look at that a little bit later as Miracle pops his BKB with the refraction. Bornea has to pop the Bloodstone to try to stay alive here. Tofu finally taken out in the end. Say 1-for-1 to start things out. Bornea with basically no mana to speak of. They just need to get the hell out of here. But the Impale, mana burn, right clicks. That is the Aegis down. He's going to be full mana, full HP now. GH getting some with another Bushwhack. Spike Carapace is there. But there's the Gust from the side of LTW showing himself from the shadows. That Shadow Blade. Bornea, this is going to be a second death from after the Aegis. And Rasmus even popped his Dragon Form and died right after he respawned. Now Ace, he's going to get burst down by the right click. This is too much to handle from Team NIGMA's side. Holy Jesus, what the hell was this fight? Good lord.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. Yeah, so
right,
they had
Shard
the cheese.
is on PB right now.
Yeah, and he also got the cheese. He used the cheese in that final fight, very clutch, but it wasn't enough. But he used it at like 5% health
Radiant's
against that
middle
next TA
tower
combo.
is under attack.
But again, man, I'm gonna sound like a broken record,
Radiant's
but every time I look at
structures
Storm,
are
he's
fortified.
like it was again,
on,
again,
Dire
and again, and
structures
again.
are fortified.
He's just dying for this.
Radiant's
Good news,
middle
He's
tower
going for
is under
BKB
attack.
now.
Yeah, he is. It is kind of late
Radiant's
after he lost the
middle
lane to
tower
barracks, but
has
I honestly
fallen.
think that could be what it takes them to swing the game around. Nice run
Radiant's
here
middle
from
barracks are
Hellbear,
under
but
attack.
NIGMA will do a great job here at punishing and getting
Radiant's
this
middle
mid lane of
barracks
barracks
has
after
fallen.
that fight. Like you said though, it's all over the
Radiant's
place.
middle
Really,
barracks has fallen.
I do
Radiant's
think
top tower
NIGMA's
is under
biggest
attack.
advantage right now is we've been harping on the Storm BKB. Dragon Knight is close to his as well, but he also doesn't have it yet. So this Timbersaw Nyx combo are just finding kills on heroes that they will struggle so much more to find very, very soon.
keep you safe.
But for the time being, big win for NIGMA here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This might sound weird, but they have a 6k gold lead right now, right? And then the last fight, I think it was 1. If these two BKBs complete, I think
Radiant's
the fight will be
bottom
harder for
tower
NIGMA than
has
before,
fallen.
even with 6k gold.
Silence.
Just because these BKBs really just changed the dynamic of the fight. Oh, they found him again.
Oh my goodness. 70 seconds. He has buyback. And now that they've taken this tier 2 bot, they can actually go for a second Rax and force this buyback out. You're right. This not having a BKB has been
Radiant's bottom tower is
basically
under
4
attack.
deaths, I want to say. He has 7 right now, so that's being generous, I feel like. Tofu, he's taking a lot of damage. We'll make it back to his fountain, though. And we talked about TA. GH, of course, does have the Aghanim Scepter now,
Radiant's
so
bottom
he's a
tower has fallen.
thorough piece of dirt.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. Radiant's
Ridiculous
bottom barracks.
amplification
Radiant's
to all his
bottom
spells,
barracks
essentially, in
has
one way or
fallen.
another. That is a second set of racks, and now they're just going to go for a throne to
Radiant's
try to force
middle
this
tower
buyback.
is under attack.
Yeah, he's going to have to buy back here.
Radiant's
Razmus
middle
pops
tower
the
has fallen.
dragon form, which indicates that they want to go up. Oh, there's Blink out from Mirror, so he's not able to get stunned. Razmus pops the BKB, there's the buyback now from the Storm Spear.
Dire's top tower
Basically
is under
nothing.
attack.
Phoenix is done, though, but does have buyback as well.
Radiant's middle
By
tower
the way, the
is under
shard was
attack.
picked up by Dragon Knight. He already used his fireball. He is dead. And that is a dieback, essentially. GH, all right? He's going to get initiated on, but there's the egg on top of him with the sunray. The right from Ace. It's not going to be enough, so the Phoenix egg is taken out. Ace is going to die as well. Ultra kill
Radiant's
for
middle
Miracle.
tower has fallen.
And just like that,
Radiant's
game
ancient
2
is under
comes to an
attack.
abrupt end. And what the hell?
Yeah, as we know, second Roche, 80% win rate, so when you get that, you obviously lose after 3 points.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was such a swift punish from NIGMA. And again, okay, I'll say it one last time. They really, really took advantage of, like, I think it was a great
tal, chicos? Ya estamos de regreso para ver esta última partida, para ver el desenlace entre el equipo de Hellbear Smashers.
Ripper.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Timber saw!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
And we're back for this decisive game 3
Radiant
with the momentum
team
firmly in Team NIGMA's court, with the momentum not in Hellbear Smashers' court. We're straight into a draft, I believe. But Cheapo, talk to me about what you want to see Hellbears do in this game 3 to turn things
I like what they've been doing so far. As we can see, they have gotten their Hoodwink again.
10
I think
seconds
Gilda's been
remaining.
playing absolutely phenomenally on that hero, so I do like to see what
5
they're doing
seconds remaining.
Honestly, if they can just take what they did in the first game, just not let themselves lose so hard on mid maybe this time. A lot of the game fell on DK's shoulders last game, having to play on his blink timing rather than Storm's timing because they pressured him so effectively on NIGMA. Maybe you pick a support alongside Hoodwink on Hellbear that can respond to these mid ganks and help out a little bit more early TP rotations. I think that could be pretty good for them.
Well, they've got the same 2 opening picks with this DK Hoodwink, but they've also banned out the Miracle TA, which felt like the linchpin of the Team NIGMA draft in Game 2, and also quite a lot in Game 1 as well. T-Governor, is that enough for you? Do you think they can compete more effectively without Miracle on the TA?
5 seconds
I think there's
remaining.
not a lot of mid heroes that have that kind of accelerant to a draft that just allows you to run across the river and kill things once you have like 2 items. So I can see why they are respect banning it. It's kind of the same principle as Invoker, right? It's course works, you go for like Soda Crest, Verse or whatever, you're fighting with your team. You take that now away, Miracle has to play a different style at mid. I think the amazing thing from this draft so far is that Game 1, we're mentioning, okay, the DK Hoodwink, will they go for the Timbersaw? But they don't really do that. Game 2, they win with like this last pick Timbersaw situation. Now it pushes all the way up into the first phase of bits. So just get the Timbersaw into the draft. We know how to play around it. And the scary thing here, it unlocks this aggro tri-lane that we saw in the Game 1. You know, Timbersaw just plays off on an island, can play 1-1 into DK, and then Nyx plus any aggressive support plus carry. That's a really devastating type of lane that you can construct from NIGMA. I think Smashers have to start thinking about that now quite early in the draft.
So what thoughts do you reckon Hellbear Smashers are going to be having about this, Sheep? What sort of stuff do you want them to be picking these next 2 picks?
Well, I thought last game, we did see them get pickoffs on this Timbersaw with this Hoodwink. They were able to burst the heroes, so that's not exactly something they need to be worrying too much about. I was a little bit worried for NIGMA. I won't lie. We talked about how they needed the momentum, but there were some good pickoffs on Hellbears that made it a little bit dicey for a bit. But I don't think they need to be worrying about that. I think they just need to
10 seconds remaining.
Give themselves like I said, a way to protect their mid
5
and not let it
seconds remaining.
get pressured
Dire
as hard,
team pick.
so that they can have a playmaker outside of this DK. I love the AA. Great hero.
Yeah.
Really good against Timber. Strong right now.
First AA we've seen so far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's-
DK AA is good.
Yeah, it's solid. And like it's gonna be one of those simple stun into global ult, killer hero.
10
A can play on
seconds
one side of the
remaining.
map and then hoodwink DK together. You're gonna be blowing up these people quite quickly.
5
And it does
seconds
force
remaining.
NIGMA to have to think about it a little bit. And also in laning phase, we haven't really mentioned that. If it is gonna be this trialing v trialing scenario, AA hoodwink, they're gonna be pretty potent. Double rings, ranged heroes, you have the stun into cold feet.
Radiant
You're gonna be able to layer
team
some spells into that. And I think Smash are just covering themselves a little bit with this aggression.
Team NIGMA picking up that probably 5 Phoenix as we wait for the final second phase pick of Hellbear Smashers. But while we wait for that, if this stream is not quite British enough for you, I'd like to recommend the B stream where Into the
10
Breach are
seconds remaining.
facing off in their first series of the day. So
5
head over there
seconds remaining.
for
Innovate, yeah.
Innovate.
a double British one. Let's look at this final Hellbear's pick of the phase 2. T, what would you like to see coming out here? Because they tend to leave their mid to last, so we're probably going to be expecting either an offlaner or carry.
Yeah, in the last draft, they did pick up the Terrorblade in this position. Like they picked up the carry, giving away Brony the last pick. And in the game before that, they kind of had the leaner very early on.
Dire
So
team
it
pick.
really depends on what you see
Mirana.
right now. And they go from ooh, okay.
Mirana.
So Brony has played some mid Mirana before, and this might open up for mid Mirana. Actually, isn't that just a play? Actually, yeah, I think it's just going to be a mid Mirana, and then you have this core that can deal with the egg. You don't have stuns against NIGMA.
10
They clearly hate
seconds
stuns
remaining.
coming into the TI qualifiers. They've picked maybe 1 or 2 per game so
5
far,
seconds
and
remaining.
it's worked for them. In one of the games.
Sheep, have you seen a lot of mid Mirana? Because that's not something I've seen very frequently.
No, not at all. I think it's very specific to Bora Nia.
Mm-hmm.
When I was sussing him out, he does love that hero. I think it's like one of his third most played or something like that in Pro Dota. So super comfortable. Pairs extremely well with Dragon Knight. They're going to be able to make plays very early. I think if NIGMA did choose to do some high tempo lineup again with this Timbersaw, then I think what they have right now on Hellbear does match that pretty well. So it's a good pick.
So what sort of stuff would you be, because we're still probably therefore waiting for their carry, unless it is a carry Mirana, which seems unlikely. What sort of stuff do you pair
Dire
with a
team
mid
bad.
Mirana? Do you know, T?
Imber spirit.
I'd just go with a bit more punch. Like mid Mirana, you're gonna be able to kill egg from minute 0 to the end of the time, right? So get a carry that complements that as well. You eradicate the egg, then you have a carry coming in with like a quick timing as well. Like I still would say Ursa. Again, we said that in game 1. Just go
10
all out aggression.
seconds remaining.
DK initiates the fight. You lay down an AA blast. That hero is dead. Phoenix kills the egg.
5
Ursa jumps
seconds
onto whatever
remaining.
core needs to go. Like this style of just copy NIGMA's strategy from game 2, which was just everyone farm a little bit. T of course farms a lot, and then kill everything.
Radiant
Teams are
team
now looking
bad.
for a carry in their last 2 picks, which I always love these final 2 picks where they're looking for the same role, because you really get down to the bare bones of carries. Interesting stuff coming out with Team NIGMA banning out that Faceless Void. Hellbear Smashers probably banning out. Would you say a Luna?
10
They've already banned out
seconds
the Luna.
remaining.
What else would they be looking to ban out, Sheep?
Well, I thought
5
at least
seconds
Faceless Void was
remaining.
going to look very good for Hellbear. I was actually expanding on that. I'm surprised they did pick their Mirana there, because I think it's such an
Dire
unconventional
team
pick
bad.
that it's not the type of hero that would get banned out by NIGMA. So I think it might have been better to take a more better suited carry to your draft before these good ones like Faceless get banned out. So I'm not sure what will be left after Team NIGMA finishes their ban here.
The Spectre going out. Always good to ban out the
10
Arcana
seconds
heroes.
remaining.
Yeah.
True.
Love to play him.
Rasmus
Got too
doesn't
much
even
drip.
have
5
the
seconds
Arcana,
remaining.
so it's like
But he's not going to be
Radiant
playing the
team
Spectre,
bad.
so that's irrelevant.
he picks the DK though, and then doesn't even have the Arcana, then bans the Spectre so that they can't show off the Arcana. Like he's doing the most anti-Valve draft possible.
If you keep on doing this, even if you qualify for the international, you won't be allowed to attend.
There
Please
we
pick
go.
our Arcanas.
10
Anti-mage
seconds
banned
remaining.
out by Team NIGMA. Final ban for Hellbear Smashers. Any snap
5
prediction Sheep?
seconds remaining.
Look like a genius.
Maybe they'll bang out the PL again. We could could see some good. I mean, his Manta bias is pretty decent against Ember Spirit. Well, no, that's a lie. No, it's pretty terrible. No, that's a terrible game. I'm gonna go with Ursa again. I would like to see Ursa, but I don't. They clearly showed that they prefer these hard farming carries instead. So I'm just not sure.
Team NIGMA looking for a hard farmer here as well, T.
Potentially. Like right now, this Ember pick, it does cause a little bit of confusion because they can easily play it on RTW. It's one of his most played heroes, or they can put it mid. So you kind of Smashers are seeing through that right now and just quite easy going, we'll ban out the best carries. Because when you have heroes like Timber plus Ember, this map is going to feel so small, so quick. You know, Ember in your face, Timber running down lanes. I think Smashers are focused more on taking away the win conditions. The Spectre, the Medusa.
So who have we got in the pool? For Ace, we've still got Wraith King, which he likes to play. We still have PA, which he likes to play. Still got that PL.
This is the thinking pose.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Radiant
Hear me out.
pick.
Ace Meepo, boys. Ace Meepo. Come on, bring it back. It's time. It's ready. The hero is terrible, but my god, is it a decent game?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Meepo specialist. So I'll trust the Meepo specialist.
10
If he thinks
seconds
it's a good
remaining.
game, we'll go for it.
I think if you go
5
fast enough, right?
seconds
Like, what do they
remaining.
really do? They only have one AoE stun to stop you.
That's
It's great.
true. You can-
Great lockdown for Ember, Timber. Good magic
How about
burst
just-
against Terrorblade.
Yeah. You know what? I was going to say something probably worse
You may
than
now
the Meepo.
select
And they
your
go for PL.
heroes.
Basically the same hero as Meepo, right? Lots of things appear on the map.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even going to try and connect the dots there. That's way too hard with Meepo.
Okay, you know what?
You did mention
called the PL, it's fine.
earlier.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I mean, it's the best hero against Terrorblade, so and it's going to be able to help kill this egg. Seems good. I like it.
My
Okay,
only
some quick
fear-
predictions from you. T, why don't you go first?
I have a big fear where the PL might be good v Terrorblade, but Timber and Ember are like the known counters to this hero for just being able to overwhelm kill the illusions. So I'm going to probably side with NIGMA because I think just that alone might offset some of these earlier timings from the PL.
Sheep, how about you? What do you like here?
Ooh, I want to put the ball in Hellbear's court. You don't just let Gilgit have Hoodwink.
Yeah. I was trying to curse it so that Smashers won.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
For one.
Yes, no, sorry, NIGMA. NIGMA have it in the bag. Free.
Yes,
Free.
thank you. Yeah, cast a curse. Good stuff.
Bro.
Well, there we go. And I'm going to offer my final salutations to the Sultans of Swing themselves. It's Sunsfan and Cinderin. Take us away.
We're sultans now. I like this. It's just getting more and more pristine as time goes on, Cinderin.
We came up with 3 different words with S for our S and S.
That's
Did you
true. I
notice?
just noticed that you are very. This is why you're the analyst, and I'm the dum dum that just says what's on the screen. Okay.
I am also dumb.
Okay. Well, I think you're supposed to talk yourself up now that we've talked ourselves
I am
down.
very smart.
That's another story. Okay, Hellbear Smashers versus Team NIGMA. 1-1 in a best of 3. Whoever wins this stays in the upper bracket. Whoever loses goes to the lower bracket. Again, saying the very obvious things for anybody that has looked at a bracket at any point in the last month, because it's the same format. It's for TI quals.
Prepare
Cinderin.
for battle.
Are you excited?
I'm excited, and I think, honestly, NIGMA fans, in my opinion, have a lot to be excited in this game, because I think in isolation, if you disregard what they're against, I really like how their lineup looks with itself. This is the kind of strategy that I really like in this patch. It's a high-tempo mid-hero. NIGMA do this the best when they have Miracle and Invoker, but that's getting banned every game. But they put him on this Ember Spirit, so he can play fast. They have the Nyx as well. They set up their team fight really nicely with chains in this game. It's great for Sunray. It's great for Timbersaw. It's great for Terrorblade to kill heroes. So I'm very... I'm feeling more confident in NIGMA in this game, and I think maybe, I don't know, I don't want to analyze too much based on the 2 games they've played, but I feel like they might have figured something out based on how those last 2 games went. Even though the last one was a
30
win,
seconds to
they're
battle.
making some, in my opinion, great adjustments here. For Smashers, I don't know about Min Marana, man. I'm not sure what to make of it. I barely ever see this hero played in that role, so we'll see if Bornea can pull out some magic. Apart from that, their lineup looks solid. Again, Ace with the last pick PL, like the panel pointed out, probably a worse PL game than game number 1.
ILTW, he's the one that chooses death at the beginning of the game. Dragon Tail, the first one goes to Ace.
Great comeback.
That was a double smoke from each respective side, Cinderin. we talked about last game that we don't see it very often. We see it here. Neither team ran into each other initially, but the patience, Smashers, very nicely done.
It did pay off, but at the same time, look at Rasmus here. He actually has to TP to his lane now. This is what we talked about, right? When you fight that late on the runes, you are, you're susceptible to this happening. He's now TP top, so if they realize this, they can just swap lanes if they think it's good for them. They know now, okay, Dragon Knight's definitely top. He doesn't have TP. He has used his mana, so we could get that Timber matchup if we wanted to again. For now, they are electing to stay in their lanes, though. So good pressure on Tofu. Actually, skilling Ikura's dive. Kuro, they were not expecting that.
Very unusual, but ends up netting the kill, so nicely done.
It's so rare on Phoenix level 1 now.
So I know you found this Mirana mid weird. The panel was talking about how Borania is kind of known for this from time to time.
Yeah.
I need to understand it. I'm guessing part of it was the leap aspect to be able to kill egg at some point. There's got to be some part of it. They have Dragon Tail into arrow. Like, I see the setup, but the hero mid is very weird. What are your theories about, what do you think about this matchup to start things off, Ember versus Mirana?
That's probably the primary reason we don't see very much mid Mirana, right? Is that it just doesn't really have any very good matchups. Hero has relatively weak base stats. The attack animation is not great, so I think Miracle's just going to have a great time in this lane. I don't see Mirana, basically ever winning here. She can probably draw if she does well. And also, a lot of these ranged versus mid matchups, historically, ranged heroes do very well, but now that there's more water runes and everything, a lot of melee heroes are actually thriving, just getting those runes all the time. And Ember, he's going to be able to push the lane with Flame Guard, get water rune every time when he wants. He's going to grab one right now, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I don't know. I think Smashers were digging a little bit deep. They wanted to pick a Borania hero so that they could last pick the carry. So it was between either, what were his options there? It was Mirana, or there was one other hero he plays a lot that was still in the pool. Lina was still there. So they could have grabbed the Lina, but he would have picked it into Nyx. Really hard matchup. When they had it in game 1, Nyx was banned first phase.
I mean, early on, Miracle is definitely favored right now. Has an 8 CS lead, but I mean, at what point, from Borania, what are you looking for? You're just looking to survive the lane until you can get these combos off? Or you're looking for a rotation from, it's not like DK can come early, right? And the only other potential setup is the Bushwhack.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to get some sort of value out of this arrow setup, close to the end of the lane stage.
For sure.
From the catch-up, at least.
I don't think you try to win mid by killing there. I think you focus on using the Mirana to enable the team rather than the other way around. Rotating on mid is just too hard in this game. Don't bother. Let Mirana get levels, let Mirana get some farm, and hopefully for her she can find a connection on Dragon Tail in the top lane on a Terrorblade kill. Which is one thing Mirana's pretty good at, is killing Terrorblade early on. She has a lot of magic damage. So will die. Kuro and Mind Control finding that. Mind Control the 0-2-2 build here. He is very tanky. All right, what do you think of PL then? I mean, there's some options. They talked about Wraith King. I know that Juggernaut isn't picked, but it felt like an okay Juggernaut game, especially if you want to play at a very high pace. Good egg killer, good for high pace, and I think it's actually not that bad against TV these days because of the shard. Against terribly late game.
Yeah. But they picked PL.
Yeah.
They did win game 1.
They did. Like we said, it's probably a worse game for the hero, but you look at your pool, you look at your player, and you ask. You're like, okay, what do you want to play here? What do you think is best? And I'm with you. I think Jugger could have also been good, but I can't say with confidence that it would have been a better choice. The good thing about Jugger here is Healing Ward is very good in this game against something like Timbersaw and Phoenix, but and the Juggernaut eventually, this is very counterintuitive, I think, to a lot of people. In my opinion, Juggernaut is actually one of the best late game carries against Terrorblade. But the reason we're so hardwired to think of Terrorblade as a Jug counter is that you go back a year and people were counterpicking Jug with Terrorblade and just running him over in the mid game. But with the new shards, with new talents, with new items, balance has just shifted a bit where I think Jugger can actually... We saw that at the Major in a game even. Yeah. There was a Juggernaut late game that just bodied Terrorblade. Late enough. Oh yeah, we have the PL here.
GH top lane. Yeah, I didn't think they would have enough damage, but with the 2 levels of Bushwhack and Acorn Shot was just enough.
Yep.
We're seeing the one level of refire right now.
LTW here. Good pressure.
All right.
He's actually in trouble possibly here. Oh, good bounce back on that. That's
not quite there, but the one more right click will do it, and the vision from Rasmus ensures that they get that kill. So 2 kills here in the top lane for Smashers. That is very, very good news.
And that was basically a 50-50. That Acorn shot had to bounce back to Terrorblade, not on the creep, to get the kill, and Gilgir rolls a natural 6. Wait, that's not a good roll, is it? He rolls a 6.
Oh, I don't know anything about D&D. I'm sorry, everybody.
I know something about regular dice. 6 is good in most cases.
Yes, I think so. The 1 is bad. That's the snake eyes.
So forced to TP out bottom.
Yeah, they're just continuing to just spam out the ILTW in terms of the magic damage, which is what you have to do at this stage of the game. But back to mid lane. I mean, look at the CS. I don't know how much of this is actually jungle creeps, but Bornea only 6 CS behind.
The prize is mine.
Radiant's middle tower
But he's
is under attack.
500 net worth behind, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty significant, actually. But at the very least, he's not out-leveled horribly. I mean, I was expecting this to be just absolutely awful. So, push back onto the illusion and the tree as well. Top lane, seeing the damage come through. Cold Feet actually procs as well. Now the TP's come in, so it might cost Rasmus his life, but he'll take this any day of the week. In fact, he takes the Miracle TP as well. Get the bushwhack, but it's not really going to prevent anything. So it's a 1-for-1. But this leaves Mind Control in the bot lane just to fend for himself here. And he has pushed Ace completely out of lane.
PL's not
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
If anyone goes to sit bottom, it's Hoodwink. Right, giving the tip to Mind Control here. Good job, buddy. You picked Timbersaw, I guess.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It's a pretty random tip. There's just a Timbersaw pushing a tower. This is pretty standard coding, you know? Nothing crazy here.
I have hung around Misery enough to know. I mean, I don't know how much he's changed over the years, but this he would be complaining about somebody picking Timber. So unless it's us with Moo picking Timbers on the FTI every game, then that's fine. Well, that's not so. Yeah, the tier 1 tower is able to be taken out by Team NIGMA, and on the other side, Smashers applying some pressures at half HP right now.
Radiant's
not
bottom
quite
tower
level 6.
is under attack.
But still has done a significant amount of damage to this tower. He's getting another Dragon Tail off. He's just spamming this in left, right, and center.
Actually dead for this, I think.
Yeah, that's TP support. Oh, pushback onto 2 again. GH gets the Impale off in the meantime, though. Kuroki, level 4, gets off the Fairy Fires. Rasmus is running around in circles. So with the rotation of Mind Control, you have to think that it's inevitable death here for Rasmus. I wonder if a TP comes out. That's the real question, Cinder. Who TP's in here? Rasmus dies to the hands of Kuroki, as usual. And no tips at all, so really disappointing.
He is forcing some movement, at least with this, but it did feel a little bit overzealous to try to go for that stun under the tower in that situation. Enigma very quick with the punish, but obviously Mind Control rotating up there, this now gives Ace a little bit more space to work with down here, because now he has access to the creepers. He's going to farm wave plus hard camp every minute. Probably even get those dead as well. Another kill.
Near that triangle there, another bushwhack. Into the arrow this time. Looks like GH can take the brunt of the damage there, but not a whole lot of damage to speak of. Nyx is going to take a tumble push at 1-for-1 across the lanes here. Now Rasmus, I mean, he has a 3-level deficit if you compare the off lanes here. That is pretty gigantic. I mean, can't be too surprised, I guess, although at this stage, Misery maybe a little lower than you would hope.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Except Dragon Tail now, though.
Yeah, I guess it's also a bit expected, right? If you consider how early Mind Control was left alone, he will get a bigger experience. Like, he just has more experience to draw from than Rasmus, so it's not like he just destroyed the lane way harder than him. But I think at this point he would ideally like to be level 7 as DK. So he's definitely slowed down a bit. He gets that 6, they have the Dragon Tail. Obviously this makes for a very easy arrow setup like we've talked about now with the range setup from DK. Mind Control is killable. He doesn't have anything for his hood just yet, so Mirana and Dragon Knight actually pack quite the punch, especially if Ice Blast comes in with the Tome in at 10. Need to give Topher a little bit of space for that to be the case, though. He's only level 4 and a third, which is very low. Not even bridging the gap to 6 with the Tome. They're going to try to kill
Gonna get bushwhack here, and the arrow to follow, and all the extra damage thanks to the Ice Vortex. More than enough.
Yeah, very easy.
Kill. Now Rasmus might be able to just solo this tower if there's no TP support on the way.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Nope, gets the bushwhack
Dire's
off
top
again.
tower is under attack.
I don't know if he's missed the bushwhack in all 3 games. He's played the same hero, so he's got the practice, sure. I'm impressed though. I'm really impressed with his play on this hero. We saw a lot of games in the major, and it was just, you know, it was a hit or a miss, but a lot of underwhelming games. I feel like consistently throughout these 3 games, he has been on point.
He's been good, for sure. I definitely see why they value it this much when doing it like this. And I think overall, oh, good arrow. I couldn't think on that though. Oh, just NIGMA trying to take advantage of the siege creep plus Timber Saw. Very classic thing to do when you have Timber. All right, there's the bushwhack miss, Shannon. You got it.
Yep. Caster curse. Thank you very much. Wait, did he get the item? That's the real question. Will he be 3 for 3?
Not yet.
How many do they have left? Because
they're not getting it. Oh, that's a problem.
No. Can they win without it? Is the real question. Bornea getting bursted, but will leap to safety. Mind control creating as much space as possible with GH's help to get the intel on Gilgert. It doesn't look like Shotgun does connect.
Mind control's not a bit compromised.
Aegis here, A blast to follow, so the Sunray's going to do absolutely nothing. That is the second death for Mind Control after he got up to such a good start. So huge kills.
You're just not safe on Timber in this game. There's a couple of things that are really nasty. You're playing into Ice Blast and you're playing into Hoodwink's ultimate burst. Timbersaw generally considered a counter to Hoodwink because it cuts all the trees, so it's hard to hit bushwhack. But when it comes to it, if you have other ways of setting up the stun, then you're not so reliant on the trees, right? They're going to just Dragon Tail, then they're going to arrow, and then they're going to Hoodwink ult. They won't even need the bushwhack if the other guy set him up. And Mind Control really needs to... He you know, I don't... It makes sense he thinks he's that tanky. He just isn't. Because usually Timber at this point, with a hood and a wand, feels very tanky. But he dies in a Dragon Tail. His heroes are there, and you just... No save available. Phoenix heal doesn't matter. It's also only level 1, actually. Korra with the mechs. Fire Spirit. A lot of the time we see 1-2-4, but he's 1-4-1. Perhaps partly because of the AA matchup. Just
the rune of invisibility.
Miracle's working on a Maelstrom for himself. Not a huge surprise considering he's going against a PL this game. And obviously it's going to help his farm quite a bit. Now the real question is, what's Bornea going to go for? He's going for Dragonlance right now. He has to turn 2 weeks already. A blast comes out, but Tofu is going to take it from
Arrow?
Arrow connected as well, but he's
I keep getting excited over arrows. There's just no one there.
Yeah.
So.
Radiant
They
structures
don't really, I mean, without the
fortified.
A blast, in addition to a couple of heroes, they're not going to really be able to burst anybody down. But
Radiant's
do you have
middle
any
tower
clue
is
what
under
the build
attack.
is from This looks like a right
Radiant's
click
middle
build.
tower has fallen.
Yeah, I think he's going to go Dragonlance Maelstrom, probably.
Bolt, Impale. Ace, he does have Doppelganger onto the other side of the cliff. Miracle gets the ensnare off, but not a whole lot of follow-up, so...
Dire's bottom tower
He's
is
top
under
net worth,
attack.
actually, PL. After that start bot, Ace has been doing a really good job of finding farm.
Your place.
Miracle.
Yeah, Ace also did a good job of finding the possessed masks in the jungle. That'll help his... I mean, like you said, he had to get into the jungle at level 5, right? So not exactly the best jungle hero, for sure, at that stage.
The prize is mine.
Bornea. All right, now he knows that Spike Carapace is on cooldown. Not able to get the arrow off. Again, no real connection. His farm is okay,
KB.
but not compared to Miracle. Miracle's doing quite well.
So I suppose Mirana has a pretty big power spike on level 15 as a core with right clicks because you get 75 attack speed from leap from the talent, and you get 15 damage on 10.
Scanning.
Just instinctively looking at this item build, Dragonlance into BKB, I feel like this hero does not do that much damage, but I'm ready to be surprised. Like I said, not very popular right now. And that could also catch NIGMA off guard, you know? That's something that they're not very familiar with playing against in this current patch. There's a little bit of an X factor there.
Yeah, he has the shard queued up as well, so that gives him an extra leap, and it gives him a critical strike, a 1.5 critical strike during, I don't know how, I guess it's during the whole duration of the leap buff itself. It's Mana gets initiated on, but he is he's good to go. How long is the buff, actually? Say in the
2.5 seconds.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Wow.
Oh,
2.5 seconds, and you get 4 leaps, and you get a 1.5 crit.
Yeah, and it's a
Sounds pretty
guaranteed
good.
crit, right?
Yeah.
Every attack.
That's the way that I read it. Is that
That's
it's
pretty decent, actually. Yeah. It's not bad. Oh, ILTW. He is out.
Never refuse gold.
Radiant are
Perfectly
scanning.
fine. No need to get excited, Cinderin. Good effort. 2K network lead here, though, for Team NIGMA. But you're right, the BKB right out of the gate, basically, at the Dragon is quite interesting.
Guess it's my shout.
Ace is getting initiated in the triangle again. TPs are coming in, though. Ace got dusted, looks like, but it's going to be Rasmus this time. 3 heroes grouped up here on the side of Team NIGMA as the egg is popped. Can they kill it? There's the leap, and with the right click from Marana, that is more than enough, but it might cost him his life. He turns around with the ice splash, just hit everybody. Miracle now on the right. He's going to be shattering here pretty soon. A 3-for-1. It just cost Rasmus his life. He'll take that any day. I didn't know that interaction. Bushwhack, Timber Chain? Did you see that?
Yeah, it apparently works like that.
That is very weird. Is that not a stun, technically?
It's kind of like Yules, where if you Yule after throwing Timber Chain, you break the Yule, and you also break offensive Yules. I don't know why it works like that with Bushwhack, because technically he's stunned to a tree, but I guess just that minimum bit of movement he does when stunned in the chain separates him from the tree, and when you're not onto the tree as hoodwinked, it obviously stops the stun. So, I don't know. It's a bit weird to me, but
that one feels.
We're just gonna have
like...
to accept this and move on.
Yeah, I remember that cartoon. That was good stuff. Dota Reporter. That does feel like a bug, though. I know there's a couple interactions with Hoodwink who were like, they could just keep that as a feature, probably. So we're going to see Team NIGMA pursuing the Smashers jungle. Ace is going to spot this out, though. Yeah, they see Miracle. They're going to play their pressure to start with, but GH gets something in. And the Ace comes in, connecting onto 2. So you can see the Ace is taking the brunt of the damage along with Rasmus on that whirling death. But BL is dead just like that, in addition to the AA. So we need to clamp on the Phoenix, though.
Radiant's bottom
So
tower is under
My
attack.
goodness, Rasmus. He got out of there, but control.
Great Sunray from Kuro.
Radiant
That was
structures
really
are
impactful.
fortified.
I think he had it on 2 enemies and 2 allies the whole time. And that choke point, Phoenix very, very good with that Sunray. And they're going to get their, reap their reward with a tier 2 tower. ILTW just untouched.
Radiant's bottom tower has
that.
fallen.
Job done. So Marana had a double damage in that fight, and she did a lot of damage with that. So she can definitely deal damage.
Bushwhack into the arrow mid-nerf. Mr. Miracle is dead. A blast connected on LPW, but the sharpshooter will not end up hitting him this time around.
Radiant's
Pretty big
bottom
kill, though,
tower
after a
is
really
under
bad
attack.
fight for Smashers. Rasmus is about that Dragon Form. Might find Kuroki here. They get the nice stun.
Dire's
Yeah, great
middle tower
layering
is under
from
attack.
Smashers again. Be turning into a tier 1 tower to boot.
Yeah, so I was going to say a little bit
Dire's
earlier
middle
that it's
tower
problematic
has
to
fallen.
how far behind Rasmus is falling in this game. He has 6k net worth, and the reason that's an issue is they rely a lot on him to set up and ideally get multiple stuns in the fight, but it feels without a BKB, if he jumps in and stuns afterwards, he's going to die to Sunray, he's going to die to Timbersaw. Oh boy, that's a hoodwink. That was there a moment ago.
100 to 0. Goodness gracious.
Did you hear my dog barking?
Sure didn't. My boy Onion at it again.
You didn't?
Huh? No.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Onion, hi for me. Appreciate his presence.
A bit busy right now, so can't say hi to the dog.
Maybe you can get him to cast with you next game instead of me. That'd be great.
But yeah, Rasmus sees GH.
Yes!
Yeah, they're gonna get the Dragon Tail into the Ice Blast, easy peasy, like you said. Miracle does have a Remnant out, so looks like he'll be fine if they can get a crazy initiation somehow. But it looks like it, again, I haven't seen this Marana firsthand, but it does feel like this timing of BKB into Shard is kind of the go time. And we'll see how powerful
He's doing great so
it is.
far. He's 5-0-6. He has decent farm. My primary concern is his ability to win late game against Terrorblade and Timbersaw, but if he can keep up this pace, he might just get there. Very, very excited to see how this pans out, especially the 15 power.
Radiant
How
are
much that
scanning.
matters. Yeah, good stuff. BKB is complete and 200 gold for Borneo. And how we're looking for Rasmus. So he's far away from his. 3k to go for his BKB, and it's just so important. We've seen a couple of fights this game. He blink stuns, and then the punish from Phoenix Timber is just instant. You can get caught in the next stun as well. So just to be very careful.
Radiant's top
approaches
tower
fights.
is under attack.
Mind Control actually picking up a Heaven's Halberd. You don't get to see that every day. Obviously really good against Mirana if you can get in range, and Doppelganger does not dispel it, so a good way to tell which the real PL is, I guess. Evasion is always nice. In fact, they don't really have any heroes.
Radiant's
I mean, there's a
top
Butterfly
tower is
being
under
built by
attack.
LTW as well. Don't really want to buy MKB on anybody.
Radiant's
Maybe
top tower
Mirana,
has
like
fallen.
much later in the game? It's like she relies on...
I think Mirana doesn't mind buying MKB too much because she has so good attack speed, right? She get a lot of procs.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's one hero, though. You know, PL's still that hero. Dragon Knight's not going to get anything like that. He's just a setup stun, essentially, at this stage. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. I am really excited to see if this Mirana... I'm kind of rooting for it, just because it's not a hero we get to see so often. At all, in fact. And if we do, it's a support, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Gilgar getting spotted out.
Gilgar is really high level. He's level 13. GH is level 9. Super high level on this Hoodwink in this game.
Ooh, Courier.
Dyer's courier has been
Dead.
killed.
Very dead Courier. Bushwhack onto 2, plus the spike characters ends up stunning in the turn. Arrow doesn't connect it. The break is now to GH. Rasmus trying to do as much damage as he can from the sideline. The buyback on the Hoodwink. Bornia not able to leap to the high ground to finish off the Nyx assassin. Just gonna get beat down by these illusions in the meantime. These Smashers need to just reset here. Ace from afar has the shard now. The illusions are going to be much more annoying with that Spirit Lance. Just getting chased. Another great Bushwhack stun, but Ace is just going to get bursted down at the end. Doesn't have another Doppelganger to work with. Egg is on the high ground, but I think they're too far away. Rasmus just getting right-clicked from afar. Or Mia, no leap to speak of. If they can find this kill, this will be enormous. That'll be it. So it's a 2-for-1. It only costs
Radiant's
them
middle
support.
tower is
Now
under
they can beat on
attack.
to this tier 2.
They got the Nyx with, I think, the final dig of Ice Blast, so it must be very close to the end, so they do get that, but really, really good force step from Kuro.
Radiant's middle tower has
Cool item
fallen.
choice as well. Like, it's a way of solving the Bushwhack problem. You don't see this item bought first on Phoenix very often, but he gets this ability to disconnect the
Radiant's
combos that
top
Hellbear
tower
Smashers are
is
trying
under
to do
attack.
with
Spoil
Hoodwink
that
stun into
shot.
arrow, Dragon Tail into arrow, and Ice Blast. So basically that one force-step last fight, I think it made the arrow miss and the Ice Blast miss on the Terrorblade that they were trying to kill. So good foresight. I really like the choice this game.
And from Bornea's side, he is still a bit away from finishing the shard. As we have yet to even see a Roche attempt here. Later than we would normally see, but neither team crazy Roche take by any stretch of the imagination. LTW just going for the basic crit build. We've been seeing that basically every game from TP, one way or another. Although I feel like we see Scotty ahead of that most of the time.
Never refuse gold.
Not the case this time. Doesn't feel like a Scotty
Ahead of the Daedalus and Terrorblade, you mean?
Yeah. Isn't it Scotty into Daedalus?
Yeah. It usually is Scotty. Like, I think the most common build is probably Manta into Scotty, and then you either get Satanic or Butter, and then you get Daedalus. But I've seen some Terrorblades lately prioritize getting that high damage burst earlier in the build to really ride the momentum of how strong Metamorphosis is. I'm not completely sold. Like, he's putting a lot of faith into Kuro to always get the Force Staff, because he gets 100 to 0'd here if he gets caught by a combo, right? With this build. You don't have the safety of the health from the Scotty or the Satanic when you go like this. So let's say he gets Dragon Tail, Arrow, Ice Blast, he's just done. So they really have to have Kuro in a good position around the Terrorblade. So far, it worked well last fight, so maybe his call is, you know what, I trust you, we got this. Keep protecting me with the Phoenix and I'll be fine. Personally, I kind of don't like it. I would rather see the Scotty, because I think damage is not the problem for NIGMA right now, and it's more of a safety thing, getting Scotty here. But if he gets Sunder off, I think they win the fight, right? So he just needs to survive, and if he starts fighting someone with Scotty, I still think they have enough damage with him, Timber, as well as Ember. Plenty of damage coming out of the NIGMA heroes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of this AA versus TB matchup, and it works both ways, right? Because Sunder, obviously a good counter to the Ice Blast since it does work. But at the same time, the burst damage, the whole idea of AA, it's not just about the healing reduction, but just using that in combo with something to burst them down from 100 to 0, which TB, that's his biggest fear, right? That's why Zeus is such a good hero. Although we don't really see, we actually did see one game at the major. Or is that ESL? Either way, it worked out really well.
It was at the major.
Worked out really well and destroyed TB. But I agree. I'm a little surprised he's not going for more stats based. But we'll see how it works. Let's see.
Bornea is 500 away from that shard. I'm mainly curious to see what he queues up after it. I think it's going to be MKB.
Yeah, I think it has.
So he can
Radiant
terribly better.
Well, they're going to 5-man smoke into the Moonlight Shadow, the classic combo. See if they can find anybody on top of this. So looking for the Dragon Tail initiation into Arrow or the Bushwhack. A little bit separated right now. Rasmus, yeah, they can't figure out which way they want to go. Bushwhack onto the, yeah, they have to show themselves now.
Good read from NIGMA, they know exactly.
Radiant's middle
They
tower
did
is
actually
under
moonlight
attack.
and smoke under that ward, right? Upward.
Oh, Chakram on top of him. Rasmus, of course, like you said, does not have the BKB, so he might just get bursted down. That is a super easy kill, and just like they don't have your offlaner, but does have buyback available. Of course, without Dragon Form, though, how much use are you? See the sharpshooter used by Gilgar to try to get a little extra space again. Looks like it might be successful. Oh, Sleight of Fist was there. The chains. No, not gonna happen. They only get one, but it might cost. Get the cost of Roche.
Big prize is Big Boy. Big Boy's dying very fast.
Big juicy boy.
That's one thing about having this crystal from Terrorblade. We can just get the attack Roche, so it obviously makes it a lot easier and faster. Yeah, good read from NIGMA. I think the top ward that the place that's about to expire now is given the vision that the smoke is coming, and they just counter it.
BKB has to be popped by Bornea. The Egg is there to try to save speed. Yeah, he's getting quite a bit of it. It's going to be enough with that 15 count. They're going to get 2 kills on top of this. And now Tofu getting bursted down by Mind Control. Sharpshooter connects, but really to not much avail. Arrow connects as well, but not a whole lot of follow-up to speak of, although Rasmus is here with the Dragon Tail. Ace grouping up, and now the Chakram destroying Rasmus from 100 to 0. We talk about that all the time. Such a good counter to the Dragon Knight. And just like that, it's a 2 for 2. Steps to the enemy base. Bushwhack, ooh, like it was going to connect there, but I think that was the Whirling Death preventing the trees from stunning them.
All right. Those matches they do trade there, but again, Dragon Knight is just being punished so hard. And a big problem that Smashers have in this game, I feel like you're really seeing the night and day between game 1 and game 3 here for how Phantom Lancer's game is. He's been relatively quiet. We're 26 minutes in. Ace he's 1, 2, and 4. Haven't really seen him do very much damage on his PL because he can't go in. And that's where it matters so much that there's other people in the fight that set something up, stay alive, and PL gets to wrap around and find a Phoenix or a Nyx or something that he just gets on, gets that free kill, and then snowballs from. Because his targets aren't great. Like, you don't want to go on Timbersaw, you're not going to kill that guy. Ember is too mobile and hard to catch. And the Terrorblade had Aegis, so in that fight, you're really, like, pick your poison, you know?
The rune of
Shadow
haste.
coming out. They're gonna
get away, no detection.
Look at Rasmus's neutral item, by the way. He has a Philosopher's Stone. That's how bad his game is right now. Just needs the goals for the KB. Absolutely.
Nice juke from, or escape from Gilgar here. Very good use of the sharpshooter to get to the low grounds. He's still dead, they found him.
He's only, alright. Scurry up in 2 seconds. Nah, he's finally down. He's only a level 14 in terms of building clutch. I'm a little surprised by that. Well, I guess the hero hasn't been out that much. But there are some level 30s already.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But he's played so well.
Radiant's
Spams the crap
bottom
out of
tower
this thing.
is
ILTW
under
on the
attack.
steps of the enemy base now.
Radiant
The meta is popped.
structures
Hoodwink is dead for 50
fortified.
seconds. Absolutely no
Dire
buyback.
structures are
Everything
fortified.
online for 2 seconds. But that's still not able to have the BKB coming out. ILTW. He gets arrow. Better be careful here. Ice Blast. Has to sunder a teammate. He does so onto Kuroki. Ice Blast ends up being way too for the moment. Bornea has to go back to base now. Haven't really seen the leap into the crit strike yet. As, oh boy, they get the stop on the Phantom. Ace is bursted.
So good from GH. That Spirit Lance was not targeting Nyx, but the bounce from the shard went on GH.
Radiant's
Carapace, and then got a max range stun.
Yeah, that's rough.
huge
Radiant's
punish
bottom
onto
barracks
Ace, and
has fallen.
this is a really big problem. Because they're probably going to be forced
Radiant's
to buy back
bottom
the
barracks
PL here.
has fallen.
Yeah.
I don't think Nigma has to go back. LTW with Aegis could still go hit.
Still has arrow, but you can tell they just don't want to go in mind control now.
Now they might just
is
back
the
off.
buy
Radiant's
axe.
middle tower is under
Aegis
attack.
still on ILTW. Still in melee form, obviously. Meta's not available for another 90 seconds. It looks like they're trying to disengage. A-Block with the Dragon Tail setup. Into the leap here. The crit, Cinderin! The crit! It's not that much. It's not really not that much, but... Yeah, he needs
Good
another
participation
item.
award there. Gets the You Tried medal for the right clicks for 200 damage, of which 70% gets blocked by Timber.
Yeah, that's decent. Yeah. But
He's
once
so
he
tanky.
gets
He has
MKB is when it starts to
The rune of regeneration.
Yeah, then you still need to claw through a Timber with the Hellbear Heart.
Yeah, you ignore him. That was definitely not.
Yeah. This is looking really good for NIGMA. I feel like they came in a little bit cold in game 1, and then in game 2, still not super convinced with how they played and what they strategized, but this game, it just feels cleaner. Like, there's more control of the map, there's a more clear game plan, there's more structured team fights. And I really think so much of that comes from the fact that they have this secondary way of catching and poking and prodding with the Ember. That's not to say TA obviously stomped in game 2, like Miracle has played great today. Just from a Unity perspective of how their heroes play, the flow of the game just feels natural. How they move around. Really liking the progression in the series.
Then reach of the tier 3 tower
Radiant's
mid.
middle
They get
tower
it
has
pretty
fallen.
much right off the bat. Here's the Dragon Tail AA combo, connects on the one essentially though. LPW walks it off for now. They're gonna find the Hoodwick in the backside. Does have buyback. GH has the Aghanim Scepter. Talk about how he's getting heavily out-leveled. But he finds the farm. His team helped out here quite a bit. And he's just gonna get into burrow form right next to the barrack. Bushwhack again, set up, but no aid block to follow. There's the Sunray with the egg on the back line, healing up GH to a high degree. So much damage mitigation. Radford melts.
Radiant's
This
middle
is going to be a
tower
second
has
set of
fallen.
racks for Team NIGMA. And they still have Aegis. No, they don't. They do not have Aegis.
Radiant's middle
Ice
barracks
Blast might
has
come in
fallen.
here.
They look
That's
pretty.
what they were lacking there, the smashes on that go. It was actually a little combo. Gilger got a 3-man stun with the Bushwhack, and then they connected Spirit Lance and some damage out of Barnea, but they didn't have the blast, so they got healed up by Sunray. They're again dodging away from Miracle. Gonna get healed up by Sunray once again.
It feels like without AA Blast, there's just no hope for
They don't have enough damage to get through that heal. So they either need to find the Phoenix with PL, so that Phoenix can't stand in the backlines and heal, or they have to Ice Blast combo. Really is the name of the game here.
Can you talk to me about this? So again, we had this discussion at the major, but Ace, he went Aether Lens with the Shard, which is kind of like, you end up turning into an Octarine at some point, and it felt like a meme when it first came out, and it was pretty effective. Why choose it this game and not
Radiant's
the
top
previous
tower
one?
is under attack.
I might have to hold on to these thoughts here. But I'm interested to know why this game.
I think his mindset here is he's having a harder time going in, so he's kind of a land spot. And with this item, you get the cast range and you get the mono region and mono pool, so you can keep throwing out lances.
Radiant's top
let's
tower
say he was
is
building
under
up toward a
attack.
Scotty
Radiant's
instead.
top tower is
The
fallen.
Scotty has almost no value because he can't use it in the fight. He can't go in. I guess that's how he's thinking. This is how I do the most damage in the game, and I'm kind of with him on it. It's just, it really makes you question, was this a good pick to begin with, right?
Well, the FPS has gone down the tubes. That means meta has been popped, Cinderin.
Yep.
That wasn't meta. What caused my what was that? But that was a reflection then. A reflection on multiple heroes. Okay.
You have found a Nemesis match.
That's not true. Nobody does that. Nobody's playing that.
I actually like Nemesis.
Big A back onto 3. They blow up ILTW. No buyback for him. GH stuck inside his burrow. A big potential fight here if they can get more out of this. Dragon Tail is going to connect, but Miracle's created a lot of space between him and Hellbear Smashers. Mind control out of mana completely. So it looks like they'll be able to clean him up at the very least. So a nice mini comeback here from Hellbear Smashers. But what can they turn this into?
It took them 20 seconds, 5v1, to kill him, but they got it.
All right,
Good
rough on the
hold.
Roshan time.
There are two lanes of barracks down, but that was a really good Ice Blast catch onto the Terrorblade. I'm not sure if Kuro wasn't able to force step him. I think he was stunned facing forward, so then obviously no way to get him out of trouble. And they pile on him, and that's a lot of gold going the way of especially Tofu and Borania. Borania is almost done with his MKB.
The prize is mine.
Be a turning point, but there's still so much to cover from them. They're really far behind. The next Roche would be big. He's spawning in 10 seconds, but no one is checking it. Tofu is kind of heading over.
Yeah, so they'll have about 20 seconds to take it before Timber's up, but
they can't.
They don't have a. I mean, I guess Marana is starting to turn into a bit of a Roche killer. Feels it's not the worst, but they wouldn't take it fast enough. Is what I'm trying to say. So Timber would be up anyway. So 11K net worth lead now for Team NIGMA, and they are definitely in the driver's seat. 2 racks advantage, and will likely look for a pick into Roche as GH has scouted out that Roche has indeed spawned. That is with the Aegis, Cheese, and Shard. They can find. They might just run into Roche and force this fight, actually. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Meta's pop. Rasmus on the outskirts. Jumps in with the Dragon form and the Dragon Tail. Oh my god, Rasmus melts. Holy Jesus.
He was not ready to get stunned by Nyx though. He didn't BKB.
Yeah, that was rough stuff. He buys back, but like we talked about, useless human form activated. And NIGMA know that. And there's creeps in the base right now, so they have to be pretty careful here. Miracle's gonna jump in, he gets Dragon Tail though. He's gonna get pushed back into death. All right, 70 seconds on the deck. ILTW pops the BKB. It's that huge meta form. Still could go for Roche technically, but it's a 4v5 now. A 4.5 versus 5. You're talking about the Dragon Knight. And control. He's gonna get cold feet. Does proc it. You can see the mana just getting burned slowly but surely by Ace and these illusions. But GH,
that Ember
looks like they're actually going to defend this. Wow. Very nicely done. I was not expecting that. I mean, again, the creeps have beat down on this tier 4 tower. It's already at half HP for one of them.
Plenty of buffer. Just 1.5 towers left. They should definitely stay at Roche at all costs. Even AA, who could be tempted to go back and defend and then throw an Ice Blast, they need literally everything here. They need that magic damage increase.
This is so hard though with GH in his burrow form. God, what an annoying hero to play against. Gets off the spike carapace, it's not really gonna do much. Impale onto 1 with Chakram to follow.
Radiant's
this is
middle
so
tower
hard
is
to
under
take,
attack.
especially when you don't really do that much damage right now.
And they can't confidently go on the heroes because they don't know if
now they're
Miracle has
base.
buyback.
Now they're base.
This is, I think valiant effort from Hellbears here to try to get the Roche, but
Roshan has fallen to the dagger.
Perhaps trying to snag a little something, but ILTW ends up getting the Aegis, and the kill onto Hoodwink is very
Radiant's
easy in the end. It's
courier
Ace.
has been killed.
Is Moonlight shadowed? Should be okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Doesn't
attack.
have gem or anything, so
Radiant's middle tower
I'll be happy
has
with
fallen.
that exchange for sure. As the shard was picked up, I mean, I think they already had the Sunray, right? I thought they had the Sunray. I think it's Ember Spirit. Miracle picked it up.
Radiant's structures
Here,
are fortified.
yeah, Rasmus dead. Just 70 seconds on the deck. 7-second BKBs are still available to use. This is what happens when you're playing against GH in this Nexus asset. Okay, beautifully done. That is the Aegis. And Borania pops the BKB. You see the crit coming out. He still has 2 loops to go. Uses 1 to retreat, though.
Radiant's
It's
top
going
tower
to be a tier 3
is
tower
fallen.
at the very least. And you can see GH is continuing to heal in the midst of all this. He's getting surrounded by his teammates. That's basically a shield, but Hellbear Smashers are starting
Radiant's
to drop
top
like
barracks
flies.
has fallen.
As building damage
Radiant's
is
top
going to be too much. It's
barracks
going
are
to be
under
mega creeps at
Radiant's
the very
top
least.
barracks has fallen. The Dire now have mega creeps. Radiant's middle
Not
tower
mean to rhyme
has
that.
fallen.
GH gets the Impale, connects on the 1, and this is going to be his turn. So this ends up being 2-1 for Team NIGMA. I have to say, I mean, this game was a little bit more stoppy, but Smashers in game 2, they had an opportunity to take that game. Even though Miracle was owning on TA, they had their opportunity, but just slipped through their fingers. So down to the lower bracket.